And good afternoon, everyone. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing well and thriving on this fine Thursday afternoon. My name is Joyce Trevino, and I'm so glad to be back as your host for this year's Digiskarteng Pinay event. You know, last year during International Women's Month, we shared stories of inspiring Filipinas who have unfolded livelihood opportunities through YouTube and its content. And my goodness, I can't believe isang taon na yun. It's been a year, but I still clearly remember their stories. I remember meeting Juliet, an accountant turned home baker, and Dilian, a working student who was able to put up her own unlimited chicken wings eatery. Both of them just learned through YouTube, and now they have successful businesses of their own. You know, I was also so happy that I met fellow creators like Tinmay, who from being a lifestyle vlogger, nag-focus siya bigla to shifting to business content to help others during the pandemic. And of course, sino ba naman po ang makakalimot that I was fangirling over Miss Judy Ann Santos, because who doesn't love Judy Ann's Kitchen, diba? Sobrang talagang mahal na mahal natin yan. And so I hope you guys really remembered those stories as well and were inspired by them. And kung kasama namin kayo during that time, please don't forget to comment, of course, in the comment section. Kanina pa po namin tinitignan before we started the program. We were already so excited that so many of you guys are here today. I'm just gonna go and shout out some people who are early birds dito, ha. Hello to AJ, to Kitty, to Myrna, to the one and Harley, Angeline, Marie, to Cor, to Beth, ang dami nyo guys, to Gina, to Marilu, to Alia, to Amy. So many people already talagang cheering for your favorite content creators that you will be seeing here today. And of course, please do stick around because they will be giving you guys some great advice and tips on how to be a content creator or even just to be a Digiskarteng Pinay yourself. Thanks to the combined efforts of Grow with Google and of course Women Will and YouTube, Digiskarteng Pinay has continuously uplifted women since 2019, providing them with resources to learn various skills. From beauty and fashion, arts and crafts, to coding and STEM-related topics, Digiskarteng Pinay has always aimed to provide Filipinas with informative videos to empower them create livelihood opportunities and additional sources of income. If you have your own stories of being a Digiskarteng Pinay, please i-share nyo sa amin yan in the comment section here today because we want to be inspired by your stories as well. Now, this year, we're taking a bit of a turn as we focus on further growing online resources under Digiskarteng Pinay. And that's why today, we are holding an online training workshop for Filipino content creators. And this afternoon session is not just for those na meron ng YouTube channels. If you've been meaning to start your own channel, this is your sign, so make sure to stick around. By the end of today's event, you can pick up your cameras and start your content creation journey. Kahit na phone mo lang yan, kahit gano'n kasimple pa yung meron kang setup, pwede mong gawin yan. And if you are inspired and ready to be a Digiskarteng Pinay, mag-comment ka na rin and show us some love. While Digiskarteng Pinay is designed for women, it does not mean that this is only limited to women. This campaign is also open to men and other content creators, especially given the importance of allyship. Now, to further advance the agenda of women empowerment, we need the help and support of the broader community and later on in our #IamRemarkable segment, pag-uusapan natin yan. Okay ba yan? Okay, so is everyone ready to be Digiskarteng content creators? Share your own insights, learnings, and even your tips with us by using the #Madigiskarteako on all your social media posts. If you have friends who are not yet here, i-invite nyo na sila, papuntahin nyo na dito para naman sabay-sabay tayong talagang matututo sa mga Digiskarteng Pinays and content creators that we will be meeting here today. I just want to say that I love the fact that we have so many people here in our comment section, so many people saying hello, so many people saying that they're very, very excited for today's activity. So, umpisahan na natin to. To give a message and to further inspire the next generation of women creators in the country, please welcome Google Philippines Country Director and a Digiskarteng Pinay herself, Miss Bernadette Nacario. Hi, Det!
Hi everyone, good afternoon and thank you for joining us today at Digiskarteng Pinay. Digiskarteng Pinay began in 2019 with the goal of helping women maximize the opportunities of the digital economy through helpful videos on YouTube. It is a platform for women empowerment and development, believing that when we uplift women in the country, we also uplift households and communities. According to the latest Global Gender Gap Report of the World Economic Forum, at 17th place, the Philippines is the second most gender-equal country in East Asia and the Pacific after New Zealand. However, we still have so much more to do when it comes to women's labor force participation. The study notes that, and I quote, only 49.1% of women are in the job market, corresponding to a gap closure of just 65.3% on this indicator. Similarly, income and wage gaps persist. On average, 22% of the wage gap and 31% of the income gap have yet to close. Again, these are all data from the latest Global Gender Gap Report. Our women's low labor force participation represents missed opportunities for economic growth in the country. And this all boils down to factors including wage gaps, care responsibilities, and gender norms, among others. This is exactly why we at Google sustain Digiskarteng Pinay. And that is to empower women with opportunities, impart skills and resources, and build a sense of community. When Digiskarteng Pinay celebrated International Women's Month last year, we met Juliet Piquero. She's an accountant by profession, and she went home to Bohol to take a break from the corporate world. Then the pandemic hit, and she started working for her family's mini mart business as a bookkeeper. However, the business slowed down due to the lockdowns, and Juliet tried out several online businesses, including selling K pop merchandise. But her big break came from following her passion. Juliet loves cooking and baking. After watching Filipino creators like Madiskarteng Nanay, Chef RV Manabat, and the slew of baking content on YouTube, she decided to try her hand at baking. It has since grown into a thriving business. Now, she has an online cake shop called Nanita's Cakes and Pastries that generates a source of income of roughly 1,200 pesos per day. I can't express how proud I am of her and the other Digiskarteng Pinays who were able to turn their passions into ventures. This really goes to show that when we uplift women, we uplift communities. As we strive to help more women, part of our goals at Digiskarteng Pinay is to give Filipinas more online resources that are created by Filipinas for Filipinas. But this doesn't mean that this event is only limited to women. As the campaign believes in the power of allyship, this training workshop is also open to men and to other creators. To further champion diversity, equity, and inclusion, we need allies and help of the broader community. And this is what today is all about. We hope that through this session, we can empower more creators from all walks of life to create content that Filipinas could benefit from. To our creators and speakers for today, Joyce, Coach Laika, Team Tara, Vern and Vernice, along with our very own Miami, Andrea and Nika from Google, thank you so much for imparting your knowledge and skills. I'm sure there's a lot that we can learn from each of you. And to our viewers and up-and-coming creators tuned in today, we hope you'll be inspired so you too can chart your own YouTube creator journey and help women. Join us in growing the Digiskarteng Pinay community. Who knows? Your content might be the next reason behind someone's success. And if you've been meaning to start your own YouTube channel, well, this is your sign. Once again, thank you so much and have a productive day, everyone. Mabuhay ang Pinay!
Mabuhay ka, Det, and maraming salamat. Det, I feel like we are going to be growing the Digiskarteng community today because we already have more than 500 people tuned in right now to our YouTube stream. Good, everybody. Please do stick around because we have, as Det mentioned, so many great insights from our speakers for today. I just wanted to highlight a comment here from Sabrina Rachel who says, watching from Zamboanga City, want to learn more about creating content. That's why I'm here. I'm sure many of you guys are here for that same reason as well. You know, self-promotion plays a crucial role in women development, and Google has a program called #IamRemarkable to promote this advocacy. To explain this and the importance of allyship, please welcome Miami Cabansay, Global Content Manager for Pixel from Google Philippines. Hi, Miami.
Hi, Joyce. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited for your presentation today. But I want to say first, you have a great program with I Am Remarkable. This was already discussed in the presentation that you'll be making. So I just want to give you the floor right now and just let us in on this remarkable program. Go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. What we wanted to share about I Am Remarkable today is about self-promotion, yes, and how this particular program that we initially had internally is something that's growing now externally and globally as well. So what is it all about? So have you ever been in a situation? So for example, everyone who's tuning in right now, maybe in a job interview, meeting, or even a social situation, or in the case of YouTube creators, your vlogs where you had to talk about your achievements. It's not easy, right? So that was the first realization of the founder of I Am Remarkable in 2015 when she took part in a women only workshop at Google. One by one, they were called up to talk about what made them remarkable, and the struggle was real. So, upon further research, the founders, their names are Anna Vanier and Anna Zappisoccini, they're based in London, discovered a vast body of literature proving what they intuitively know. So, women and other underrepresented groups like us often struggle with self promotion and are conditioned from a young age not to speak openly about our achievements. So they wanted to do something about this. So in 2016, our founders created a movement that would raise awareness of everything that we've learned and help participants feel more comfortable when it came to self promotion. And so they called it hashtag I am remarkable. So I am remarkable is a global Google initiative empowering everyone. So that's everyone, women and men, and everyone alike, particularly underrepresented groups, to celebrate their achievements in the workplace and beyond. So, at the heart of this initiative lies a 90-minute workshop. During this workshop, everyone is going to learn about the importance of self promotion in our personal and professional lives and be equipped with the tools to develop this skill. So you are all invited in this workshop to challenge your social perception around self promotion. So the workshop has two primary goals. Everyone is encouraged, right, particularly again, underrepresented groups to engage in self promotion. And the second is to raise the awareness of challenges folks from underrepresented groups face in engaging in self promotion and how we can, of course, get the support of allies or how we can become allies ourselves. So, as YouTube creators, some instances or places in which you would find yourself needing to self promote would be likely networking or launch events, interviews, meetings, or even these kinds of events, webinars, right? So, just as you may have already experienced in those ways the benefits of self promotion, and including taking control of how you're perceived by others and making them understand the unique contribution you can make, are really vast. I Am Remarkable is all about being aware of our other role as allies as well, right? For others who are either wanting to self promote or are self promoting. So if you're a person of majority, meaning you're comfortable self promoting in an audience when you are gathered, use these tips, right? For us to lend voice and volume to those who are less well represented. One, we need to attribute ideas correctly by stating who shared the idea, right? Oh, that's Joyce's idea, right? You know that I watched it in her I watched it in her vlog, or I heard it from her podcast, right? Something like that. And then inviting the person to share more. Acknowledge the accomplishments as well, publicly or privately, depending on the individual's preferences. And the third would be to ask probing questions, right? If you notice someone using we instead of I when discussing their accomplishments, right, we can probe further, right, to encourage them. So, a great way for experienced YouTube creators to practice this supporting our up and coming creators, mentioning them in your vlogs, right, to attribute their content, encouraging them with your own stories of how you started, right, and what your struggles were. It will help create the culture of repeating one's stories and magnifying them through your network of subscribers. I'm Remarkable is having a real impact in growing every day. So, what have we achieved so far? Participants are surveyed after 3 months after attending a workshop, and to date, the numbers that you see on screen are the real impact, right? So, to date, we have already done workshops for at least 1,000 plus companies globally, and that's around 32,000 workshops. If you'd like to know more about or about this particular workshop, and if you want to attend, like head over to our website or message Google Philippines on Facebook, and we can arrange one for your community or group. With that, I'm handing the limelight back to Joyce. Over to you.
Thank you, Mayang, for that wonderful presentation. When you were giving that, I couldn't help but reflect on how I started out as a creator, where I also felt that feeling of not wanting to self-promote, may certain level of shame or takot or shyness that's attached to it. And I think what you were saying, the advocacy of I Am Remarkable, attributing the ideas to certain people, probing even more, and actually creating that kind of community around you and accepting that and being encouraging to that, it helped helped me find my confidence to also self-promote because community is so important. And I just wanted to ask you, I know this was already discussed in the presentation earlier, but I'd like to emphasize this important point for all the people, for all the Filipinos who are watching right now, mga gusto maging Digiskarteng Pinay, what does hashtag I am remarkable mean to those who like to start or have just started on their YouTube?
That's a great question. It's actually a very important part of their growing up, right? As growing up as YouTube creators, because when they self promote, right, that's encouraging not just themselves; it's actually inspiring other people, right? For them to be able to like share, this is what I'm good at, right? And I'm sharing this because I may one day inspire other people, right? Inspire other wannabes, right, like Joyce and the others who are in this particular webinar, right, to become like them, right? So it's really important for us to remember that no one is the best person to actually self promote than you, right? Because we know what our accomplishments are. We know the right moments when we'd be able to like to share that with other people. So just continue, right? Just continue to self promote, right? To share what you're good at, right? Because you will never know who you're going to inspire and how much that particular instance, right, would be in the impact of the lives of other people.
I love that. Thank you, Miami. One of the things that I realized is we inspire other people by having confidence and standing proud in who we uniquely are. Like what you're saying, when we give voice to ourselves, when we promote ourselves, all the uniqueness that we have, all the aspirations that we have, even exposed to the weaknesses and the strengths that we have, we encourage other people to do the same. And that is so important. And creating that kind of vibe and that community online, especially, is so important because it gives confidence to others that they can do the same thing. Now let's expound in this key point that you mentioned as well. How can allyship help in empowering women creators to celebrate their stories and achievements online?
Similar to what's happening right now. So I've been just like reading the comments like casually a while back. That actually inspires, right? That actually inspires you like, oh wow, I have like thousands of like hundreds of comments, and that's exactly what you're looking for, right? The feedback that you're going to be given. And I always say this in all of the workshops that I facilitate, feedback is a gift, right? So our allies are the best people who would be able to like give us that feedback, right? No matter what those are, and of course in the right way, right, in the right manner. Whenever we get those feedback, it's an opportunity for us, right, to be able to improve ourselves. So allies here could be anybody, right? Anybody who would be able to like reach out to you and say, Joyce, maybe you can talk about like this in your next podcast because we enjoy it so much, right? Being able to get that feedback from someone, right, and seemingly, right, it's just feedback, but that could actually be your ally, right? Someone who is actually helping you like improve or helping you further, right, strengthen, right, what you're really very good at already, right? So those are the moments where anyone's feedback, right, could be very helpful for you, right? At the same time, encouraging, right? So when you get to read those feedback, it's important, right, for you to, let's say, yeah, just reflect and say, okay, is this helpful for me? If yes, then use it. And that's exactly what allies are, right? In the background, they watch you, they see you, and from their feedback, you improve, right? So it's really important to have those particular allies.
I love that. Miami, one of the things that came up to my head when you were saying this is when it comes to being an ally means that you are pushing or helping someone be more innovative. That's one, with the encouragement and the comments that you have. And second, you fortify the creator. You fortify the way that they're creating content and their business or whatever it is because you're there present for them. Sometimes ako as a content creator, sobrang nag-iiba yung perception ko, yung vitality ko for creating content when I see how it personally affects other people. At kapag sobrang invested nila na nagbibigay sila ng feedback and comments, just like what you said. Now, hashtag I am remarkable is a 90-minute activity, but I want to know from your perspective, is there a way for us to practice being hashtag I am remarkable in our day-to-day life beyond the workshop? Do you have personal ways that you do this? For instance, like self-affirmation in front of the mirror. I've done for myself. Ako naman journaling, di ba? Ano yung mga steps na ginagawa mo for that?
Very good. I mean, like really self affirmation is one, but I love what you mentioned about journaling, right? So really just affirming what you have accomplished because sometimes we forget it. No, we forget it. Na parang, oh,
Mm.
nga, no, I'm remarkable, right? Those are the things that I've done, right? Feeling ko it's ordinary, right? But it's some for other people extraordinary pala yun, right? So sometimes we forget those, and it's important for us to write it down because, like, when you look back and remember, right, you know that you really are a remarkable person. You've done things not just for yourself but for others too, right? So not just that, right, finding other people as well who actually self promote, right, and are very positive, right, because they're the ones who would I like the word that you used, uplift and magnify whatever you are, let's say, talking about yourself or talking about other people, being an ally. No, you want to make sure not just like to do that amongst yourselves, right? But for to be able to like really inspire other people. So simple ways yon. So you can self affirm, right? You can journal. You can find people who would be able to like support you as well. So just like what we're seeing here in our comments, no. So there are a lot of like very supportive fans of the different YouTube creators that we have invited over. So kanon, right? So it's simple, right? We may already be doing it actually.
Mm. Thank you for that, Miami. I love what you said. Our self narrative, the inner narrative that we have, the things that we say to ourselves, the things that we repeat to ourselves every single day, whether that's self affirmation or we write it down, or even the people that we surround ourselves with, that is really important for how we become and create as Digiskarteng Pinay. So maraming salamat ulit, Miami, for sharing your insights here today.
Welcome.
Yay! Oh my goodness. With that, I just got even more pumped for today's workshop. I hope everyone is so excited for that as well. Let's get right into it. I loved everything that Miami mentioned because it's a great foundation for what we will be learning today. Nag-uumpisa ang lahat sa ating sarili, 'di ba? So when we remember that we are remarkable, when we remember that our inner narrative is so important, when we remember how to be an ally for others and how to surround ourselves with allies, then we can be madigiscarte and thrive even more. Now, have you ever wondered, this is my question for you guys, what does it take to achieve success on YouTube? Aside from individual creativity and perseverance, YouTube employs a team of dedicated individuals to guide you through maximizing the platform. Our first session for today will be headed by YouTube's strategic partner manager. She helps your favorite content creators get the most out of their YouTube channels while also unlocking each of their individual potentials. Very much like your personal YouTube expert. O, diba? Gusto nyo ba yun, guys? Gusto nyo bang matuto from a personal YouTube expert that helps your favorite content creators? I definitely want to. So, to give us a foundation in the ins and outs of the YouTube platform, as well as an overview on how you can strategically grow your channels, please welcome Andrea Romualdez.
Thank you,
Hey,
Joyce. Thank
Andrea.
you so much, everyone, for Thank you for joining us today. Grabe naman, Joyce, nakaka-pressure yung intro mo. Pero yun,
Gusto mo
thank
ba
you,
yun?
guys. Yeah, go.
Yeah, Drea, I'm so excited because I feel like, YouTube and content creation in general can be very overwhelming for some people, especially for me. Ako talagang, I got overwhelmed at the beginning, and one of the things that I did is I went to YouTube University. Nanood ako ng ibang vloggers that had a lot of other insights already, and I watched their vlogs. But you're going to be giving us insights as someone who's a part of YouTube as well. So go on ahead.
Thank you. All right, thanks everyone. So I know everyone is super sabik na kayo to see the other creators that are gonna join us today. But ayun, as Joyce and even earlier Miami mentioned, short lang naman to. We will go through two major things today. So getting started on YouTube, especially for those na hindi pa creators right now. And then second, of course, so yung mga creators na ngayon, it's more for also optimizing your channel, optimizing your strategy. I think as a partner manager, I actually only manage Philippine creators. So ang dami ko na rin nadaanan na questions, lalo na pag medyo bago pa yung channel. And the number one question, syempre, is how do I grow my channel? How do I get more views? Things like that. So yun, those are the two major things we'll cover today. we go to the next slide, so yun, we will talk about where to get started, planning your programming, and of course, introduction to the basic YouTube products or features that you will encounter starting up your channel. Okay, so next, I think the biggest thing siguro pag first time YouTube creator or siguro you're thinking pa lang if I should start a YouTube channel. Ilang beses na namin nasabi kanina, this is your sign to do it. Diba? Even that mentioned, Joyce mentioned. So yun, it's very easy, I guess, to make that one click to start and create your account. But I think yung most important, syempre, is to know your why and your what. So find your voice. The first step naman talaga sa YouTube journey is to really start by defining your goals. So there are a lot of creators na nagsimula because, bored sila or may gusto talaga silang i-share na passion or talent. So those are really things that will become your kind of driving force as you go along in the platform, diba? So good question siguro to ask yourself if you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel is, of course, how would you like to have an impact? So again, going back, are you there because you want to share something specific? Do you have a passion for something or a talent that you really want to get out there? Second is, what do you want to say? So same lang naman, you really need to hinge on a specific goal or a why. If you're trying to maybe create awareness, the guest creators here that we'll have later in the succeeding sessions will share also a lot about, I guess, like what their journey has been like on the platform, what got them started, and in many cases, YouTube channels become like virtual diaries for a lot of creators na talagang ang dami nilang share about their personal lives, right? Third, of course, is what knowledge or experiences can you share with others? So going back, you want to be able to have a plan rin because it's hard also to start a YouTube channel kind of just going on a whim and not really knowing, okay, you post one video, pero ano na yung after? What comes next, diba? And then, of course, who are your favorite YouTube creators and what makes them memorable to you? So, I mean, this goes two ways. Sometimes people start YouTube because they're inspired by their favorite creators. And other times naman, people actually start YouTube kasi may questions sila na wala pang sumasagot online, on the platform, na maybe they can help themselves. So, that we'll go into that a little deeper in the next slides. Next slide, please. Okay. And then, of course, after that, when you've kind of thought about na rin kung what you want to do on the platform, what your channel wants to share or what you want to be about, syempre, may verticals yun, diba? As we all know naman, may mga fashion vloggers, may mga musicians, may mga gamers. So having a solid vertical is also going to really help your content strategy and direction throughout your journey. So YouTube kasi, ang dami ng content, diba, on the platform. So it's also very important for you to kind of hone in on what you want to be known for in terms of vertical. So again, this will help you down the road kasi it'll give you ideas on how to map out your content strategy, how to really grow your channel, your brand, kasi actually you'll find out again more later, but YouTube is really also a business for a lot of people. And that's also why we're here today, di ba nga? Kasi Digiskarteng Pinay. So yun, like you can learn a lot from YouTube, you can build a business on YouTube or through YouTube. So it's very important na may one vertical ka to really hinge yourself on and have a clearer path for you on the platform. Okay, and then next, of course, is brand. So yun nga, we're going from really knowing your what and your why or reason to start out. Second, of course, would be yun nga yung vertical. And then third, we'll go into your actual branding elements of the channel. So once you've decided that you want to start on YouTube, syempre, there are a few things. Account creation pa lang, these are the things that will be part of your setup process to really get on the platform. So of course, yung first is channel name. So when naming your channel, it's not, many people use their names and that works, yes. But also when you're naming your channel, think of a name that's easily searchable, reflects your content, and also is recognizable to the fans coming from other platforms. So you should take time talaga to think on potential options. So it's important na if you edit your channel down the line, baka rin kasi na um, may times na parang na-hinge na yung brand mo sa isang name or sa former name. So, it's better na rin na you also kind of think through the process on what you want that channel name to be, and whether that's your name or a brand name, something that you're known for, that can actually also be sustainable and grow with you as a channel, as a business on your journey. Second, of course, is your channel icon. So, the channel icon is yung parang avatar na nakikita. So, very important din to because it's an image, parang logo siya, that represents you across the platforms. It appears sa side ng channel if people search it, or even sa videos mo mismo sa baba, the icon is always there. So, para siyang branding also. So parang kung brands may logo sila, parang yung avatar mo or your channel icon is also your logo. So it's a good idea rin to use consistent and recognizable images or icons, pati colors, alam mo yun, yung mga channels minsan like one color scheme lang talaga sila. So that also really helps for brand recall, especially when you're starting out. Third is your channel banner. So when you go on your channel homepage, you'll see sa top section that there is a channel banner that you can place. So same with the logo, your channel banner is a piece of art or visual branding that you can really leverage to create that brand recall and distinction. So it's also a good idea to maintain the design consistency within your channel icon, your banner, and all other social media presences that lead back or promote your YouTube channel din. So para siyang brand talaga all across. No? You want to be able to visually distinguish your brand based on your icons and your color coordination, your color palette, things like that. Then of course, something na actually marami pang YouTubers na hindi pa nila nagagawa kahit sobrang laki na nila sa platform, but is actually very helpful, is a channel trailer. So channel trailers are a really good way to introduce new viewers to your channel, syempre. So it's good for you to create para siyang summary trailer, parang movie trailers, 'di ba? Na you can actually tell your viewers what to expect on the channel. Introduce yourself as a creator or your brand, and what type of content you post. And then last, of course, is the About Me section. So visible to for viewers who click into your channel. Tapos sa About side or tab rather, a lot of people use this rin as a parang bio. So again, parang siyang trailer but in text form. So it's good rin for you to note down maybe tidbits or descriptions on what your channel is about, what type of content you create. And we've also seen that's very effective is you're able to put in any, I guess, communication details that you do want to share. But of course, on that note, do note that it is publicly accessible. So be aware also of what communication channels you're sharing there. Usually, what we see is creators will share their other social media accounts or their business emails in case brands or other creators want to collaborate or connect with them. Next slide. Okay, so yun. So moving on naman sa settings portion. So kung na-set up na yung basics ng channel, next naman syempre is to set up your actual channel for success. So syempre, as I mentioned, YouTube has become a business for many people. And the first step there is being able to monetize yourself. So, of course, my steps yon and these links, which we can actually maybe share afterwards. For those that signed up, we can send a couple of these short links on the recap email. But in any case, you can also just search on YouTube as well or on the support page what the different requirements are. But basically speaking naman, you need to set up your AdSense account. Of course, enable your monetization. And then if your account or your channel is made for kids, important din to review yung mga guidelines and details on having a made for kids status or account. Next. Okay, so consistency is key. Ito na pag siguro na set up na lahat, you're posting na rin, we always talk about consistency. So with YouTube nga, kasi since there are so many creators na, there are three things that are very important for you to keep in mind. So may frequency, follow through, and content type. Sa frequency naman, I always go back to parang TV shows lang siya na pag may active na TV series that you're watching, agad-agad you know na, lalo na pag live airing siya, you know na kung kailan ka babalik for a new episode, for a new season. It should be the same treatment with YouTube. So it's not about pressuring yourself to upload more, for example, but more of sticking to a consistent frequency. So if yung kaya mo is once a week, pero once a week talaga, every week meron, okay lang yon. Minsan nga, meron mga creators na very successful kahit once a month lang. So, depende din naman sa type of content and audience. But the important thing is, syempre, to inform them also on your upload schedule. So, important din yun. Second is follow through. So yun nga, since may frequency bit na and parang you promised na rin na kung every once a week, kunyari, you're gonna upload. Syempre, once you've set na those expectations, dapat rin may follow through. So similar to, let's say, the way na some creators use various features like premieres, live streams, which we'll go into later on. It's very important na once na-announce mo na or once medyo may schedule ka na for uploading, you stick to that also. Kasi doon din siya mag-grow. If you are more sporadic or parang inconsistent about uploading, the chances of yung mga drop-offs of your viewers or also maintaining that growth momentum will break as well. Kasi nagpa-follow din sila sa activity mo. If they see na very active ka and very consistent ka, they'll know then kung when to come back, how often to come back, things like that. And then, of course, content type. So, back naman to always being grounded on your what and your why and your vertical. It's important na you know your content type and you stick to it. There are ways that you can actually pivot and expand, of course, but more often than not, especially just for one channel, usually more or less one channel, one vertical is the best way to go. Usually may mga creators na talagang may iba silang passion or let's say their day job, they want to create a channel out of something else they do in their life. Sometimes nagsiseparate channels sila. And that just helps separate your audience also. Kasi you're already building yung affinity and that audience base focused on a specific vertical. Next slide. Okay, so yun, after we get all those settings out of the way, syempre may planning stage naman. Yun, so the first bit is syempre analytics. Maraming tanong about this and if we go through analytics, siguro separate workshop na to altogether. But here you'll actually see there's a video, how to use analytics. So if you search that sa YouTube by the channel YouTube Creators, that's actually a good way for you to get like an analytics 101 on how you can really lean into the data to help you get those signals and understand rin which metrics and which data to look at to help you grow and set yourself up for success. Because the basic understanding of how to navigate YouTube analytics and its features will really also directly impact how you develop your programming and content strategy. Okay. Next naman is of course, so set goals. So there are different goals for creators. Yun nga, sometimes you go on the platform and your goal talaga is for it to become your business. So revenue focused siya. Pwede rin naman growth focused or reach focused. So pag revenue, the best thing to look here is of course, how are your videos performing on the monetization side of things. This is also where you can mostly leverage the mga features of YouTube that actually bump up or give you more potential revenue. Lately, we also launched yung mga super thanks, super chats, super stickers, as well as live streams and premieres that also help give you alternative forms of monetization on the platform beyond just yung ads. And then second and third is growth and reach. So depende rin sa mga sinesearch nyo or what you really want to achieve for your channel. growth would be really to incentivize your viewers to come back. So it's really building that strong brand and community with them. Whereas reach naman is more of mass appeal. So maybe that's the one where you're more seasonal or timely. You really follow kung ano yung siguro mas relevant na mga topics within your vertical, syempre. But you really follow kung ano yung sina-search, ano yung hinahanap on YouTube within your vertical. Next is so you watch your content. So once your goals are set, it's time to do naman yung research on watching a wider range of content. So you can also review yung creators on the rise. So meron tayong tab within the YouTube homepage that are creators on the rise, which usually show yung mga up and coming creators. So you can pay attention there sa mga mas bagong creators na siguro they're growing a little bit faster, so na-feature din sila doon. You can also learn from your peers. So if you have mga creator friends that you know, or yun nga, yung mga aspirational channels that you have as role model, so to speak, for your own channel, then it's good also to always keep note and keep tabs on how they're growing on the platform and what they're doing to continue to stay relevant and I guess like expose themselves to update their content and strategy. Then syempre diversify. So you can also look at videos na you've never really engaged with. So mga new channels within the same vertical, and it allows you to see mga new topics or new content types, new video types that you can actually try out yourself. Okay, next is so yun. So while it's good for you to always canvas around kung what's happening, it's also very effective for you to have your own niche. So it's possible then to find big success on tapping into a smaller, passionate niche community. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko earlier na sometimes people start YouTube channels because they themselves are looking for something and can't really find a creator or one single answer and decide that maybe they'll take a stab at it and do it themselves. So sometimes mga passion projects, like more often than not now, we're seeing a lot of creators that are really going into hyper-focused topics and verticals or specific things that they do. So you'll see there are channels actually now, like for example, itong channel na to, puro siyang Turkish tea related. So iba't ibang recipes, different methods of doing it. And then I also have a creator that I currently manage na puro aloe vera lang yung channel niya. So doing things like that will also give you an edge because then you become yung parang go-to person for that specific topic. Okay. So next, syempre, is your existing brand. It's possible na yung casual viewers might be unfamiliar with you and your content. So with this, you can actually combine your original voice and style with existing YouTube formats na may mass appeal. So if you notice na parang medyo nagsuslow down yung growth or hindi siya masyadong mabilis, yun nga, that's when you can actually look into what's relevant now, what's mostly being searched now, and then take that as a good format for you to also try out. But obviously, still honing into your own vertical, your own brand. Of course, very important is collaboration. So the best way for you to really also expand your reach is by collaborating with other creators. But of course, you don't just pick and choose kung sino lang kilala mo. If hindi naman kayo same vertical, di naman kayo bagay mag-collab in terms of content or video type. So choosing wisely is also very important. Going beyond a one-off, meaning hindi lang sa mag-one collaboration kayo tapos na. Usually, mas maganda din kung medyo may series or if you can continue it with future collaborations as well. Of course, be social, make it about the movement, and go beyond video. So usually, yung going beyond the video naman is also don't get hung up on the traditional style of collab. Sometimes, two creators might agree to skip the in-person content and use mga shout-outs in the next video or on the community tab to drive viewers. So don't just think of your video as the main source of your collaboration and promotion. You should also think beyond that, how can you continue to promote? Okay, next. So yung next naman is, of course, keep it efficient. I won't go into too much detail for this, but this is really also considering yourself and your investment versus the return. So think of that as well. You can look at the video new monetization metric on YouTube creators channel as well to learn more. But I think the most important bit here is to also know what value you're putting into your videos, lalo na when you start earning and when you start working with brands. It's very good for you to measure that out and make sure that you're also getting what you put in. Okay, next. So yun, regarding trends, biggest question we get a lot is if I should follow the trends all the time. And I think for trends, it might not be something that your existing fan base is into or looking for. So the answer is not don't follow the trend, but be cautious then kung what type of trends you're actually going to be able to still speak to the right audience with. Trends will work, but it doesn't have as big or as long a lifespan. So the problem there is hindi siya evergreen. So if trendy siya ngayon, pwedeng baka next month hindi na siya trendy. And what we want kasi is your video should also be relevant and useful to your audience, even if they watch it 6 months, 1 year from now. So trends could work for a spike or a small jump in your audience viewership or subscriber base, but also think long term. If you're going to get on that trend, how can you sustain that momentum? Okay. Video length as well on the next slide. This is where we introduce multiple formats. So there are 60-second videos now and even less. You'll see sa YouTube Shorts, there are videos 8 minutes or longer. I think the best way for you to really gauge what length you should be using is more on your audience or your average view duration that you'll see sa analytics side naman. So always listen and lean into your audience talaga. So it's really more on being able to see rin kung how they're engaged and where they want to I guess engage with your videos. Like how long are they staying on your videos? When do they drop off? Mga ganon. Very important siya. And next is, although nga you find the most success creating organic growth, it's worth making then the effort to convert the existing following, to incentivize your audience, refrain from reposts, and make a continuous effort. So meaning, give your followers the reason to become subscribers lang. Hindi lang yung parang they watch once and then done. You should always remember na how do we actually have them enjoy but make them want more. Okay, and then refrain from repost. So, of course, you're free naman to use your own existing content, but YouTube first content really adds value. Kasi marami din now na uso na they repost it from other platforms. But of course, you have a brand on YouTube, so it's good for you also to create original YouTube content. And then making a continuous effort, of course, is don't just make one attempt and then call it quits. So, my trends, lifts, and dips talaga yung journey as a YouTube creator. What's good for you is to know that just as with any journey naman, may ups and downs talaga yun. So, there are topics that are seasonal. For example, na let's say food, for example, lalo na pag holidays, ang taas ng viewership nila. But it's possible rin na yung mga lean months na wala masyadong holidays, wala masyadong salo-salo or fiesta, ganyan, their viewership could actually experience some dips. But it doesn't mean na magda-down kayo forever. So, it's good rin na you also recognize na it's a continuous effort and something that you need to continue to build and keep building for you to really see the long-term success. Okay, so workflow naman. In terms of workflow, of course, when you start out, usually you're on your own and medyo mahirap, syempre, budget, ganyan, to really enlist a whole team. But if you can, let's say, mga friends nyo or siblings nyo, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, ganyan, pwede rin, production staff can also be a huge help. Lalo na pag may background sila or may hilig sila with editing, with creating storylines and concepts, that can also really help you. Second, of course, is be realistic. So you shouldn't limit your creativity, but you should weigh the costs, both monetary and time. Same lang was as what I was saying earlier, na you need to also be committed to an idea, but know and weigh out kung ano yung return. So you need to factor in your production time, your effort, your creativity as well, and make sure rin na you're seeing the return there. So whether it's in the efforts of also setting up nga your settings so that hindi naman sayang yung lahat ng effort mo on shooting, but you also need to make sure na you can actually see that by fixing your settings so you're also getting the most of your videos. And then third is keep a record. So while not every idea will make it, it's important then to track your concepts in a notebook or digital document. Kasi if you start seeing trends there, kung ano yung mga video types, ano yung mga topics that performed well, then you can actually also stick to that and adjust your content strategy then. Okay, and then production naman. So production is review your needs in bulk, and of course, schedules and shot lists. So when you're creating na videos, yun nga, mahirap naman talaga when you're just starting out. Sometimes you don't know how to go about it. But you need to review everything in bulk. So it helps pag linatag nyo lahat ng ideas, videos, and then doon ka magsa-schedule. So para hindi ka rin masyadong ma-overwhelm, you can just lay everything out tapos i-map out mo kung kailan mo kayang gawin na hindi ka naman ma-overwhelm. And then, syempre, connected to that, schedules and shot lists. Usually, marami akong creators na nagba-block off talaga sila ng 2 days, 3 days na puro shooting lang. Tapos saka na lang yung editing, yung everything after voiceovers. But it also helps for you to lay all of that out para nakalatag na siya, and then it's easier for you also to maintain that frequency and consistency with your uploads. Okay, so now that we've prepared na, planned na, prioritized, syempre, there are 3 main things in terms of your videos that you want to really emphasize on or keep in mind. So emphasize audio, dedicated resources, and efficiency. So yung efficiency part is, again, try not to stuff as much content and production into one video if you can actually spread it out naman. And then yung others naman, dedicated resources. So the last thing you want to be doing on production day is scrambling to find the equipment. So you need to make sure na everything is scheduled, everything is set before you actually go into production, which also helps you long term. Next, for post-production. So again, we're gonna see here where it helps to have help. Pero if hindi kaya naman, you can always lean on reviewing your software. Check if this is the best software for you at the time, and using a file system. So again, a lot of organization planning will really help you also. Next slide. Okay, and then of course, once it's already posted, syempre, use your socials, show them the way, and integrate the fans. So one big tip talaga for you guys is the YouTube algorithm or recommendation system is largely hinged on your viewing behavior. So use your socials, promote your videos, engage your community. You can use the community tab, and it'll help you really go through, I guess, promoting your video. So yun. I'll go through one last slide na. So preparing for launch. While we're just getting to the video upload part, it's better for you to upload early, don't overstress the when, but be consistent and make sure the relevant features are enabled. So yun, uploading early, so try to upload your video as either scheduled, unlisted, or private a few hours in advance para it gives you time to address any last-minute issues including mga upload errors, yellow icons, and video processing. So usually, kung hindi consistent yung internet, better na may lead time ka to see, and then if lahat ng processing side tapos, at least mahihit mo naman yung upload timings nyo. And then, syempre, don't overstress the when, but be consistent. Yun nga. So, having a schedule will also help you with this. Don't be too strict with yourself in terms of how often, ganyan. Pero, you need to just find the time to be consistent with your releases to avoid rin yung audience confusion. And last, of course, is to make sure the relevant features are enabled. So this means reviewing the mga settings to make sure things like yung premiere status if magpe-premiere kayo ng video or features like super chat and super stickers are enabled. So yun, I took you through a lot and I just wanted to recap na syempre having a I guess like frequent but consistent schedule is really what helps. And also leaning into the data. So understanding your audience, understanding your community are really the biggest tips for me to give to you starting out. I'll bring Joyce back in so we can also hear a little bit more from her. But thank you, everyone. Hopefully, you learned a lot then.
Thank you so much, Drea, for that wonderful presentation. Drea, I just have to tell you, I started opening my channel while you were doing the presentation because I was like doing checks. Meron nga ba akong trailer? Have I already, put together these things that you were mentioning? But I love the entire presentation, and I'm sure for a lot of people, it was a lot nga talaga. So I hope you guys were taking down notes as well. I love what you were talking about with regards to making sure that you have a vertical and not belittling the niche, for example, having a consistent schedule, because for me personally, that really helped grow my channel. And I also love taking advantage of the premiere, the premiere of the video. Kasi sa akin, like you mentioned, we upload it hours or even a day before para mapopromote na namin siya before it launches. And as you mentioned, to see if there's any last minute changes that we have to do, nagagawa namin yon. And I think it was also so good that you mentioned being able to tap the people around you, whether it's your family or your friends or anybody creative that you trust that you want to collaborate with. Now, so many of our viewers here today, ang dami na nilang questions, ang dami na nilang mga comments, Drea. But I want to start off with this one. And I think a lot of our viewers asked this question as well. Is there any way to ensure the algorithm works to our advantage as content creators? Ano ba yung mga best practices natin to help the algorithm show our videos more?
Yeah, good question. And again, yeah, it's not just here, pero every creator I've spoken to, siguro, yun yung number one question nila sa akin. But yeah, so in terms of the recommendation system, or most people call it nga, the algorithm, I think it really goes back to the data. Unfortunately, there's no golden ticket to getting YouTube to recommend your videos more. But I think one thing to note is really to lean into your audience. So the way YouTube recommends videos actually is not where we are recommending siguro what's new, ganyan. But actually, we pick up signals from viewers. So we use yung likes, dislikes, and also pre and post watch surveys that really help. So things like that will really help also you as a creator be able to hinge on those signals. But of course, like as I mentioned earlier, yung analytics then is a big part. So going into your analytics, keeping that digital document or record of which videos actually perform better also help you as a creator lay your content strategy out better.
Love that. Thank you. Si Ronel din pala also asked that question. Drea, when you were saying that before, I'm going to be honest with you, I used to not want to look at those analytics kasi natatakot ako na baka makita ko yung mga hindi ko gustong numbers. And I'm sure a lot of the content creators can attest to that and also relate to that. Pero I've realized after looking at the analytics that adjusting according to the analytics, as you mentioned, helped my channel so much kasi it helped me realize, okay, dito nagda-drop yung audience ko, dito sila talagang nagfo-focus, diba? Dito na nire-repeat yung part ng video na yon. And I think it really helped me understand also my audience a lot. We've got a question here that's also related to audience from Arvin Mar. Sabi niya, how can you ensure that your content reaches the correct audience? Because earlier you mentioned, Drea, diba, na merong mga content creators that create different channels for specific things that they're doing. But how can you do that naman when you're trying to tap into the correct or the market, the audience that you want to tap?
Yeah, of course. Well, I guess I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but really your best friend with YouTube is your analytics talaga. I think one thing though that will help in the beginning, especially if you're a new channel, is again that whole branding element. Like many creators really need to realize na their YouTube channel is really like a brand. And so, syempre, if you promote your channel a certain way, you're also technically attracting or promoting your brand to a specific subset of audience as well. So one thing that you can do on your end is that way. So make sure you have things like your trailer, your video descriptions, of course, thinking about your titles as well to make sure that the actual content is captured within the titles. That also helps. But leaning into your analytics to see, because you actually can go in and see the demographics. You can't see too much detail, of course, but you can generally see the age group, what times they watch, things like that, which will help you also determine whether you're reaching the right audience. I think one thing though that's kind of taken for granted is the community tab and just generally comment sections. Those things are the only way kasi that you can actually get verbatim feedback and know who you're actually speaking to. So those things also help for you to see if you're reaching the correct audience or at least your intended audience.
Thanks for that, Drea. Now, we've got another question here from Julie Rosales. I know you touched on this earlier, but I guess, she just wanted you to reiterate again. Should you always hop on what's trending at the moment to grow your subscribers?
Okay, so parang always, sometimes never to. But I would actually say na with trending videos, it really depends on your personality as a creator. There are creators that have seen a lot of success kind of just riding through trends. And if you're one of those, and that's really kind of the subject of your channel and the type of content that you post, then go ahead. But I would say if you actually have a strong brand, if you're really keyed into your vertical, your purpose, it's not so much a never, but it's a sometimes. So I would say jump on a trend if you feel like that trend actually speaks to the audience you already have a connection with. It can help you grow your, maybe intermittently grow your reach at that point because it is a trending topic. But again, you also still want to take note of the bigger picture of things. So that video, while it's trending now, will live on your channel forever. And so you also want to make sure that viewers that come back to it will still actually find it useful or relevant for them.
Thank you for that, Drea. I love it. You're still so hinged in that, and I think that's important. The vertical, diba? The purpose of why you're creating content, and I think it's also connected to what you were saying. Your community, the comments, actually being able to open yourselves to all of that, and still always having that foundation. Because when you have that foundation, as you mentioned, of your vertical, of your purpose, of your why, then it's easy for you to start observing and trying out new things, even trends sometimes. Basta alam mo that it caters to your personal brand, it caters to your purpose, and it caters to the audience that loves your content. Drea, I just want to ask you, as a last question here, do you have any last encouragement to all of the Digiskarteng Pinays who are watching right now who want to start their own YouTube channel?
Yeah, of course. I would say, well, as many of us have said it already today, this is your sign. And I think later on, maybe towards the end of the program, I will share some next steps in terms of YouTube support that you can actually lean into, especially for those starting out. But as a partner manager, I've worked with a lot of creators, and I think this is your chance. In the next sessions, you'll be able to see creators in real life and hear from them. But I think it's one experience that is really such a touching experience, especially when you see how great they've made it on the platform. So I would say if it's something that you're passionate about and really want to get into, just give it a shot. There's nothing really to lose, naman.
Just give it a shot. There's nothing to lose. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your insights on YouTube and content creation, and for all the amazing advice that you've given us here this afternoon.
Thank you, Joyce.
Yay! Thank you, Drea. You know, guys, I'm sure nakita nyo na rin from her presentation that the partner managers are really integral to the development of our content creators, just like how allies are to women. When we develop strong allyship with women, especially with exploring alternative income generation, the more we empower them. And I'm so happy and I feel so encouraged today na ang dami ko nakikita mga comments of female content creators, of all of the women here today joining us and, you know, getting all the insights, getting all the advice, and getting even more excited to start and even continue their content creation journey. Our audience can also join our discussion for today. Sinabi ko na to sa inyo kanina, guys. So continuous lang, use the hashtag madigiskarte ako on all your social media posts. Huwag niyong kalimutan na i-share din itong stream natin for today for all of your friends and your family and your loved ones who are joining us here. And of course, mag-take down na kayo ng notes. Isa sa mga best practices that I've really tried out all these years is taking down notes. It saved my life because you can always have something to go back to after the workshop that you've attended. Okay, so now we've got so many other content creators and speakers here this afternoon, so let's get right into it. I've dabbled in content creation myself for quite some time now, and it's still refreshing to hear it from our experts at Google and YouTube. Digital platforms are ever evolving, and it's really great to stay updated on all these matters. And of course, staying updated also means staying in style or figuring out your own aesthetic and production techniques to build your identity and make you stand out as a content creator. As Rhea mentioned earlier, that's also part of being a content creator, your production techniques, your pre-production, and really planning all these things out, schedules, and even the kind of materials that you'll be using. Now, joining us this afternoon to talk about the basics of shooting your videos, editing, and other production tips is one of my personal favorite YouTubers. Kailangan kong gandahan yung introduction niya dahil mari ko to eh. She can teach anyone anything. She is a henyo in my book and in many other people's books. From her bite-sized vlogs on job tips and English lessons to her hour-long live streams on exam coaching, please welcome Coach Laika. Hey, Coach!
Hi, Joyce! Ayan. So, sobrang happy ako being backstage, watching you shine. And I'm excited for this session with you and everyone else watching.
Coach, I just want to say, at alam kong madaming mga team like na nanonood ngayon, I'm so happy to see your background. I just want to reiterate it again publicly this time around because we have been watching your YouTube videos from the time na nag-send ka lang ng video for someone who needed help to, having your own setup in your house before. And now this incredible new setup that you have, it makes me even more excited for your presentation today. So go on right ahead.
Syempre, dapat sulitin din natin, no? If I'm going to teach about production technique, dapat i-live natin siya, no? So, na-mention din ni Jaya kanina, again, my YouTube partner managers have been with me throughout the entire journey, and nakita rin ng marami sa viewers ko yung evolution ng content. And of course, yung upscaling din natin when it comes to production techniques. So, my goal for you today is ma-encourage kayo to start creating, but also to keep learning yung new ways para ma-level up yung content natin. So, I'm excited to hear from you rin. Yung questions nyo, keep them coming kasi mas maganda kung mata-tailor fit natin to sa needs ninyo as content creators or aspiring content creators. Now, the first thing that I want to share is something na I learned nung beginning pa lang ng journey ko, which is this, that the best equipment you can use are the ones you already have. Now, why do I want to stress that? Kasi a lot of people tell me na, Coach, gusto ko gumawa ng content, gusto ko gumawa ng videos ko, gusto ko i-document yung life ko, gusto ko rin magturo pagdating sa YouTube. But the problem is, wala akong mamahaling camera, wala akong mamahaling production equipment, wala akong mga lights na pwede kong gamitin or expensive microphone. But the thing is, okay, you watching right now, I would say you have the ability to create quality content simply because you are consuming this content right now. Lahat tayo may phone, right? You're probably watching this live stream on a phone right now. And what that means is, sa kamay ninyo, you have the power to be a content creator. And I'm not just saying that kasi gusto ko lang sabihin, no? In fact, let me show you something. This is very dear to me. This is the very first phone the very first camera that I used when I created content. And as you can see, sobrang luma na niya, sobrang old na yung technology nito. And in fact, nung simulan kong gumawa ng content, I think 480p lang yata. Yun. Eh ngayon, di ba, may 1080p na tayo, may Ultra HD na tayo, may 4K na nga yung ibang mga phones. So, ibig sabihin nun, you have the capability to create content. But of course, kailangan natin i-tweak yan. Kailangan natin i-improve yan. So, how do we do that? Now, here's another piece of advice. It's not about what you have. It's about what you do with what you have. No? Again, no, it's not about the tools you have, it's what you do with what you have. And I'm saying that kasi this is the perfect time for that. Again, no, hashtag ma-digiskarte ako. And if we think about the word digiskarte, so I'm actually privileged to be part of the initial na board ng Digiskarteng Pinay, the word digiskarte, di ba, nandun nakatanim dun yung word na diskarte. And ang ibig sabihin ng diskarte sa atin, para sa marami sa atin, is making use of what we have or even creating new opportunities for ourselves. So ang tanong, hindi yung ano yung magandang kamerang bilhin or ano yung kamerang kailangan ko na kailangan kong pag-ipunan para makapagsimula ako. Pero kung paano natin ma-maximize yung capabilities ng tools that you already have. So that is our goal for this session. Ma-maximize natin yan using a few techniques, sabihin na natin. Now, na-mention na fleetingly ni Andrea kanina. So kung nakikinig kayo, masasagot niyo tong tanong na to. Pero here's my question. What's more important, audio or video? Ayan, tingnan natin sa comment section. Anong mas importante pagdating sa content? Is it audio or video? Okay? Now, why do I ask that question? Kasi a lot of people think na, okay, dapat aesthetic nga, no? Dapat maganda yung videos ko. Dapat super slow-mo. Maraming mga transitions. But actually, if you look at things, mas importante sa totoo lang ang audio pagdating sa content. Because people can stand yung hindi masyadong magandang quality ng video as long as maganda yung audio or malinaw yung naririnig nila. And I can attest to that because yung content ko, when I started creating content, medyo, hindi nga masyadong maganda yung setup ko noon. Diba? I only had a camera, pero I made sure na yung audio levels malinaw para at least naririnig ng mga estudyante ko kung ano yung mga dinidiscuss ko dun sa video na yon. So the next question becomes, paano ko i-improve yung quality ng audio ko kapag nag-create ako ng content? Now again, working with the tools that we have, paano kung meron lang akong phone? How do I do that? Now, of course, ang sagot dyan would be to try and use a microphone. Now, the next question, anong klaseng microphone? You have a number of options pagdating dito. Of course, you can use yung built-in na microphone ng iyong device, ng iyong camera, or ng iyong phone. Pwede ka rin gumamit ng mga iba-ibang klaseng mga microphones like itong wireless na ganito. So, of course, ipipin mo lang siya or kiklip mo lang siya sa damit mo. Tapos may transmitter siya. Wireless na siya, hindi ka na masyadong problema. This is on the, sabihin natin, higher end pagdating sa cost. So, kung wala masyadong budget pa, you can use a lapel, no? So, something like this. Ayan, ilalagay mo lang siya, malapit sa iyo, no? Tapos, ito yung ikakabit mo ngayon. Yung kabilang dulo, ikakabit mo sa phone mo or sa camera mo. Most of these also work with both. So, whether you're using a mobile phone or a camera, pwede mo siyang gamitin. Now, of course, ang pinaka-cost-friendly dyan, kung phone naman ang ginagamit mo, di ba? Use just yung binigay, no? In package naman na headphones ng iyong cellphone na ginagamit. Ang importante lang, gumamit tayo ng microphone para mabawasan natin yung background noise. Kasi a lot of people would say, kaya ko naman yan i-fix sa editing. Pero actually, the less editing na magagawa mo on top of yung task mo to shoot, it helps you in multiple ways. Number one, kasi iba pa rin talaga yung quality kapag pinost-process mo siya. Number two, kasi pagdating sa sustainability. Yan ang goal kasi natin, na-mention din ni Drea kanina. Napakahirap mag-produce ng maraming content if hindi sustainable yung workflow mo or yung process mo. So, you really need to make sure na efficient ka para mas marami kang content na mag-produce, mas maging consistent ka when it comes to your schedule. Okay? Now, another tip would be to use something like yung iyong audio levels, no? So, yung audio levels natin, pagdating sa device natin, minamanual natin yan na setting. And of course, noise reduction after post. But again, mas maganda kung mas malinaw na hindi mo na to kakailanganin. Okay? Now, another question lagi tinatanong sa akin, bakit malabo yung video ko? Diba? Bakit ganon? Nagsushoot ako, pero bakit malabo siya? Now, actually, there are multiple reasons, possible reasons kung bakit malabo yung output natin pagdating sa video natin. Now, here are a few things to consider. So, number one, orientation. Na i-discuss ko rin yan mamaya, aspect ratio, frame rate, lighting, focus, and framing. Now, again, tatry natin na per topic tayo. Ibig sabihin, yung mga importante pag-uusapan natin. We're going to start off with orientation. Common na sakit to ng maraming mga content creators, which is, isushoot lang nila kahit anong gusto nila. Pero one thing na gusto kong encourage sa inyo would be to shoot ng purposefully. Now, ano ibig sabihin ko doon? If you are shooting something na for shorts, di ba? Ang shorts kasi is vertical, which is also untapped yan na tool ngayon sa YouTube. Kung vertical yung video mo, mas maganda kung sinushoot mo rin siya ng vertical. Now, some people would say, pwede mo namang ikutin yung video mo, 'di ba? I-crop mo na lang. But yung quality niya magiging mas malabo siya. So kung may mga naka-encounter na sa inyo ng ganyan, yun yung kadalasang dahilan nun. Now, kung ang i-shoot ko naman is landscape, ibig sabihin pahiga, hindi ko rin i-shoot nang nakataas yung camera ko kasi ang mangyayari, mapuputol din yung ibang mga sides, lalabo yung final output ko. So again, you have to decide kung para saan yung video before you even start shooting. Okay? Now, yun yung isa sa mga posibleng reasons kung bakit malabo. It's because of yung orientation mo. Now, another possible na dahilan would be aspect ratio. Now, medyo technical, no, yung term na aspect ratio. Pero ang ibig sabihin lang yan, yung, kumbaga, yung dimensions nung screen or nung device nga na ginagamit mo pang shoot. For a lot of content creators na gumagamit ng external programs, may gumagamit sila ng presentations, important din to know these things kasi yung iba, sinistretch nila. So here's my piece of advice, no? Pagdating dito sa mga ganitong klaseng mga problema, crop, don't stretch, no? Ibig sabihin nun, kung kailangan mag-adjust ng aspect ratio ng landscape to portrait, ang may papayo ko lang sa inyo, i-crop ninyo, wag ninyong isi-stretch. Kasi yung iba nangyayari, di ba? Nadi-distort yung mukha, naiiba yung dimensions, kasi ginagawa nila, stretch nila na ganun, basta magkasya lang, which is not good. So kung mag-edit na rin lang para hindi lumabo, i-crop ninyo, wag nyong i-stretch. Okay? Now, another question lagi tinatanong din sa akin recently would be paano yung slow-mo na shots. Dito napapasok yung isa pang technical thing na pag-uusapan natin ngayon, pero medyo minor lang naman din ito. It's what we call frame rate. Now, admission ko sa inyo, when I started creating content, wala akong idea dyan. So, kung ano yung settings ng camera ko, minamax out ko lang, tapos yun na yung sinusunod ko. Pero over time, and of course, yung upskilling din na binibigay ng YouTube, which started when I was chosen for YouTube Next Up in 2017, hanggang yung mga sunod pang mga content creation seminars, mga creator camp, at marami pang iba, and of course, the lifelong friends na nakuha ko doon sa buong proseso na yon, natutuhan na natin na when it comes to, sabihin natin, beauty shots, di ba? Lalo na kung meron ng mga mag-work sa inyo with brands, or kung gusto nyo rin lang na medyo dramatic yung videos ninyo, doon napapasok yung mga slow-mo shots natin na tinatawag. Isa rin yung quick fix para sa mga katulad ko na nanginginig ang kamay. So sa Team Pasma dyan, kaway-kaway sa inyong lahat, no? Kasi I used to play the drums, and ibig sabihin nun, syempre yung kamay ko medyo, nanginginig, no? And ang isa sa mga quick fixes dyan would be to shoot at a higher frame rate para pwede mo i-slow motion yung video mo para mukhang smooth pa rin. Kahit na wala kang glider, kahit na wala kang gimbal, di ba? Kahit kamay lang yung gamit mo, kung isushoot mo siya at a higher frame rate, pwede mo siyang i-slow down, no, okay, ng kalahati, tapos parang smooth yung shot mo kahit sa totoo lang hindi. So ano ba yung numbers dyan na pinag-uusapan? When it comes to frame rate, actually, ang common dyan would be 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. Ang mga phones, umaakyat siya up to 60 frames per second. Yung iba, 120, 240. So, ibig sabihin nun, kung mas mataas pa dyan, mas mabagal pa yung shot mo, pwede mo pang gawing mas cinematic yung pagkaka-slow mo. Ang importante, alam mo siya, and again, nakapag-decide ka bago mo shoot yung video mo. Okay? Now, a quick example of that would be something like your phone. No? Another piece of advice, kung hindi kaya ng regular settings ng phone ninyo, you can actually download other apps. No? Wala akong nire-recommend, pero sinasabi ko lang na pwede kayo mag-download ng mga apps na pwedeng mag-change ng settings ng phone ninyo. Tapos yung frame rate mo can go up to mga 100, 240, ganun. So at least marami kang leeway when it comes to yung production side sa editing natin. Okay? So again, depende na yan sa inyo kung gaano ka-cinematic yung gusto ninyong shots. Pwede nyo rin paglaruan yung mga settings na yan. Na kung nagsisimula pa lang, automatic is good. Ang importante, we learn through the process. Okay? Now, another thing we need to consider, and very important yan, is lighting. Okay? So, bakit? Kasi kapag madilim yung ating shot, hindi maganda tingnan. May mga tao magki-click out. And again, sa watch time ninyo, manonotice niyo yan minsan. And maraming ways to light yung ating video. Maraming mga komplikadong way to light, maraming mga simpleng way to light. Pero let me just show you, no, ito yung common na ginagamit, of course, which is 3-point lighting. Pero kung talagang medyo mas bawasan pa natin ng konti, pwede ngang mas simple pa doon. For example, itong setup ko right now, I'll just let you know, I only have one light in front of me. No? Para sa mga kagaya ko rin na may salamin, struggle yan kadalasan pag nasa harap yung ating ilaw, nag-glare sa salamin. Ayaw nating mangyari yon kasi distracting siya. So, ang susi doon would be to raise your light. So, itataas mo lang yung ilaw mo, right here. Nandito yung ilaw ko, yung aking key light. Tapos, sa likod ko, naglagay lang ako ng mga lamps na binubuksan ko. Tapos, of course, I can change the settings. Now, bakit ito importante? Let me just show you really quickly. Kasi nag-iiba talaga yung itsura ng video or nung output natin, depende sa ilaw natin. For example, kung tatanggalin ko lahat maliban sa aking key light, ayan, 'di ba? Eh medyo okay naman, pero parang ang dramatic, no? Parang medyo madilim masyado. So kung gusto kong dagdagan yung ilaw ko, pwede kong buksan yung aking regular room lights lang ito dito sa taas. Pwede kong gawing mas bright or mas dark yung mga yan. Pwede ko ring palitan ng kulay. So nakikita niyo yung ibang mga creators minsan pinapalitan nila yan. Sa akin lang, mas okay na ganyan. Now, ano naman yung silbi ng light na ito? Okay? Bakit kailangan backlit tayo na tinatawag? Kasi kung nakikita ninyo, parang naka-blend ako dun sa background ko. Pero pag binuksan ko yung background lamp ko, di ba? May ilaw na sa likod ko, nakikita na may separation ako from my background. Nakahiwalay ako. So, mas lumalabo yung background, mas lumilinaw ako, mas maganda siya tingnan. I'm hoping. Maganda ba? Ayan. So, yun yung goal natin. Yung background, hindi, kailangan mas mas pronounced kasi tayo kaysa dun sa background natin. Okay? Now, another problem or pain point ng mga creators is focus, no? And actually, there's something you could do to fix this really quickly. Alam niyo, minsan nanonood tayo ng video, tapos gumaganito siya. Diba? Yung random lang, di ba kaya nanonood ka, tapos ganito yung video. Di ba? Matutuwa ka ba dun sa pinapanood mo? So again, no, mag-click out yung ibang mga tao kasi gumaganon, parang nagkumukurap yung ating focus pagdating sa ating videos. Now, how do you do that na hindi gaganon yung ating device? Very quick ang fix nun, which is to make sure na naka-off ang autofocus mo. Now, again, sakit ito ng mga nagve-video using just their phone, na yung naka-autofocus on yung kanilang camera. Ang tendency kasi pag naka-autofocus tayo, lalo na kung gumagalaw tayo habang video, yung camera, lagi siyang naghahanap ng something to focus on. So, ibig sabihin, every now and then, nag-a-adjust siya. And yun yung dahilan kung bakit meron ng mga parang lumalabo bigla. So, nag-a-adjust ng focus yung ating camera automatically. So, para matanggal yon, just go to your settings sa phone mo, tapos tanggalin mo lang yung autofocus. Gawin mo siyang point focus, ibig sabihin, may isang part lang ng screen na itatap mo, dun lang siya nakafocus, para hindi na siya magbabago throughout the entire shoot. Ganon din for your mga malalaking camera, mga DSLR cameras or mirrorless cameras, pwede nyo rin i-change yung setting ng focus nito para hindi siya laging nag-check or naghahanap ng focus ng autofocus niya. Okay? So, yun yung mga quick tips para sa mas malinaw na video pagdating sa focus. Now, another piece of advice, and again, these may be little things, pero kung i-adjust nyo siya, mali-level up yung production natin, kapapasok ko dyan yung framing ng shot natin. Okay? Now, ano yung framing? Ibig sabihin nun, kung ano yung ilalagay natin sa loob nung frame natin or nung video natin, dapat pinipili din natin yon, yung pwesto nila, kumbaga. Now, very common na concept yung rule of thirds. Ang ibig sabihin ng rule of thirds, hatiin natin vertically, hatiin natin horizontally yung image, tapos ilalagay natin yung mga importanteng bagay dun sa mga salubong or sa corners na mafo-form yung mga lines na yan. Now, as you can see in this particular example, yung kamay ko, which is where nilalagay ko yung mga text na importante sa videos ko, and of course, yung mata ko, kasi yung eyeline natin very important, lalo na kung nanonood yung mga viewers natin na nakatingin sa atin. Ako kasi talking head yung videos ko. Maganda na follow niya yung rule of thirds. Diba? Yung mata natin nandun sa line na yon. No? Ayan. So, kita mo yung mga importante, nandun siya dun sa parts na yon. Kahit sa ibang mga shots, in this case, I'm off to the side, but again, sakto ako dun sa corner. Tapos, yung text na ilalagay ko dito sa picture neto, sa thumbnail na to, at of course, sa video din, it also follows the rule of thirds. Okay? So again, when you do that, pleasing siya to the eye. No? Nakikita ng mga viewers natin, okay, parang may something dito sa video na to, hindi ko alam kung bakit, pero nagugustuhan ko siya. When you're using devices, it's also very easy kasi merong mga grids, no? So kahit you're using your phone, let me just show you, pwede kang mag-on ng grid, no? So as you can see, nakikita nyo yung grid na yan. So every time you shoot, ipopwesto nyo ngayon dyan yung mga points na gusto mong ipakita. Kasi pwedeng naka-on yung setting ng grid na yan sa iyong phone. Ganon din for your camera. Pwede mo ring i-on yung grid na yon. Okay? So yan, yung mga little things na yan, importante siya pagdating sa output. Now, another tip na ibibigay ko sa inyo is this. You have to be deliberate in your design. Na-mention ni Drea kanina, no? When it comes to your choice sa inyong channel name, sa channel look ninyo, thumbnails ninyo, videos ninyo, channel header ninyo, all of these things, it kind of introduces kung sino ka doon sa mga viewers mo. And ino-note ko na rin dito kasi alam ko maraming aspiring content creators dito, especially when you start working with brands, di ba? Kapag nakikita nila, okay, etong content creator na to nagpe-pay attention sa details, maganda, naka-level up yung production niya. Hindi lang yung basta kung ano lang yung tamaan ng thumbnail, yun yung thumbnail niya. Ibig sabihin nun, mas incentivized sila to take you seriously, di ba? Parang brands will want to work with you. Yan, yun sa experience ko. Minsan nagugulat nga ako na parang, hala, talaga ba? Pero yun, nakakatuwa na na-appreciate din nila yun. So, think about that when you're designing things. Now, saan papasok yung tip na yan ng design natin? Of course, a number of things. So, number one, ito yung very common naman to sa design, no? 10-20-30 rule by Guy Kawasaki. You can also search for this, no? Pero basically, what that means, huwag masyadong maliit yung texts natin kapag tayo ay may mga in-text pagdating sa videos. Sa akin, importante yan kasi educational content creator ako, pero kung hindi naman kayo educational content creator, pwede naman na isipin nyo lang yun. Huwag masyadong maliit yung mga bagay, no? Another thing, contrasting colors tayo. So kung dark yung background, light yung text. Kung light yung background, dark yung text. Now, why am I mentioning this? Kasi meron iba na in-over-design naman nila yung kanilang ginagawa. Lahat na nang naisipan na font, ilalagay. Lahat na ng klase ng kulay, ilalagay. Dark background on dark background. Neon on neon, no? Ang nangyayari minsan, lalo na ngayon na ang mga consumers natin sanay na nagsuscroll, di ba? Kapag nakita nila masakit sa mata yung content mo, scroll up na yan. Di ba? Hindi na sila magkiklik doon sa video mo. Kasi maiisip nila, kung nasisilaw na nga ako dito sa thumbnail na to, bakit ko pa panonoorin yung video? Baka lalo ako magka-migraine. Di ba? Now, another thing that we need to think about will be, of course, yung choice din natin sa font style. No? May mga iba, gumagawa sila sa sarili lang font, hina-handwrite, pwede rin yun. Pero ang tip ko lang dyan, huwag masyadong marami. No? Huwag naman din lahat nga ng font ilalagay natin, pati wingdings nilagay natin. Huwag naman ganon. Kasi nagiging mas, sabihin natin, classy yung itsura ng ating content kung selected siya. Now, bakit yun nagmamatter? Kasi again, ang goal natin, makita pa lang nila yung videos natin, alam nila kung saan galing ito. For example, sa akin with the Team Laika videos, ito yung mga revamp na natin from 2020 to 2021. Ganito yung mga thumbnails natin. So again, you can see right away ano yung topic. Tapos try ko na maging mas angat or lutang yung ating mga text na pinag-uusapan. May mga ibang illustrations na nilalagay para may clarity. This is another one of my channels. Dito yung mga live streaming sessions ko. As you can see, uniform din siya generally. Alam nila, thumbnail pa lang, okay, learn with the Laika to. And as you can see, iba rin siya dun sa original na channel. Pero distinct pa rin siya. Now, ito yung sa podcast naman channel namin. So as you can see, it has its own look. Meron siyang sariling color. So red, white siya yung Trying Hard with Laika podcast natin. So ito yung repository naman ng mga recordings ng podcast episodes ko. No? So bawat isa yan, iba sila ng dating, iba sila ng image, no? Iba sila ng itsura. So think about that then when you're creating your content, especially when you're creating your channel. Okay? Now, another tip right here would be to use animations and transitions purposefully. Now, ano ba ibig sabihin ng purposefully? Kailangan meron siyang silbi, meron siyang gagawin, makakadagdag siya dun sa gagawin natin. Kasi again, no, ayaw nating hiluhin yung audience natin. Of course, we want to keep their attention, pero ayaw naman natin na magka-vertigo sila dahil sa content natin, no? Now, how do you do that? Ito yung tip ko sa inyo. Anything that doesn't add to the viewing experience takes away from it. Now, minsan, ginaganahan tayo lahat ng effects gusto natin ilagay. Lahat ng transitions, lahat ng wipes gusto natin ilagay. Pero think about it. Again, anything that doesn't add to the viewing experience takes away from it. Now, let me give you an example. No? Kunyari, nag-lecture ako or ito yung animations na gagamitin ko sa talk ko or sa video ko. Kadalasan, tinatry ko yung best ko, gumagawa ako ng sarili kong GIF, no? So this is a moving picture, dinrawing ko lang din yan, so ako rin yung gumawa, kaya walang problema sa copyright. Tapos kung i-discuss ko na next na step would be a chair, ang gagawin ko, ipopost ko yung table para yung chair yung gumagalaw. Now, kung mag-move ako dun sa light source, ito naman yung pag-uusapan, siya naman yung gumagalaw or siya naman yung animated. Now, bakit ganun? Kasi kung mapapansin niyo, no, kapit lang doon sa mga mahiluhin, no? Pero kung lahat sila gumagalaw, di ba? Kung lahat sila laging gumagalaw the entire time, mahihilo yung nanonood. So again, ang goal natin is to be deliberate doon sa ginagawa natin. Purposeful yung paglagay natin animation. Kapag nag-wipe ako dito, ibig sabihin ba doon, lumipat na ng location? Yung aking vlog, pag nag-transition ba ako ng fade to black, ibig sabihin ba nun may gusto akong message na ipahatid? Kasi ang lahat ng yan ay tools, no? At kailangan natin siya gamitin ng maigi. Now, when it comes to editing, which is sometimes naman ito yung struggle ng iba, a few things I learned sa journey ko and of course sa mga mentors ko. Number one, na gagawin lang natin, very simple, just place all your clips on the timeline. No? Ilalatag mo lang lahat ng clips mo. After you do that, pwede mo nang kulayan. No? Kasi yung iba masyadong exposed or masyadong maliwanag, masyadong madilim. Maganda kung aayusin mo to habang lahat ng mga clips mo buo pa. Kasi ang ayaw natin gawin is maputol natin siya tapos saka natin siya kukulayan kasi mauubos yung oras natin doon. So, next step mo would be to cut what you need. Kapag buo na yung kwento natin, pwede na tayo magdagdag ng transitions, ng visuals, pwede na tayo magdagdag ng mga wipes, no? Kung ano yung mga kailangan natin gawin. May mga kailangan ba i-stress, lalagyan ko ng text to. No? And then after that, you can add your music and of course your sound effects. Ang maganda naman sa YouTube, of course, is meron tayong sariling library, no? Merong library ang YouTube ng music na copyright free that you can use for your videos. Para maiwasan din natin yung yellow na mark sa monetization, maiwasan natin yung copyright na ganyan. Titingnan nyo lang yun, maraming resources for creators, no? Magandang jumping point yung ating Creator Studio tab. So, hanapin nyo lang yung Creator Studio ninyo for your channel. Tapos, i-maximize yung aralin ninyo yung mga nandoon na resources. Kasi sobrang dami nun at ang gaganda rin. Okay? Now, my timeline usually looks like this. Ako kasi I use Final Cut Pro. So, yan. Ganyan lang siya. Nakalatag siya lahat. Maayos siya. But again, ang susi rin dyan, part of that would be to make sure that your shots are good. Kasi kung okay na yung shot mo, buo na siya, hindi na masyadong malaking problema sa editing. Okay? Now, ano nang gagawin natin ngayon? So, now what ang tanong? Of course, my challenge for you would be to create something, no? Sana agad-agad. Sana this week, no? Right away. Kasi you can't improve in anything you haven't even tried. So, I will challenge you, nagawa kayo ng something that you can be proud of. Marami doon sa mga napag-usapan din kanina would be yung struggles din ng content creators, no? And a lot of those minsan nakaikot doon sa ano yung magiging response ng ibang tao doon sa content that I produce. Pero I want to encourage you by saying na kung ikaw, happy ka with the content that you're producing, yung video mo, you think it can help people, it can encourage people, it can make other people smile, di ba? Magiging proud ka kung makikita to ng apo mo, okay na tayo doon. Okay? And I know I have a rather short time with you, so ipo-plug ko na rin. If you have other questions, more technical side, sample kung paano yung isang phone lang yung gagamitin mo sa video, you can also check this out. This is also on YouTube, yung ating Learn to Teach na series. Okay? So, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me. Ayan ang 30 minutes na crash course natin on production. Kung may mga questions kayo, I think we have time naman din for that. Basta ang tandaan natin, lagi is that yung content na pinoproduce natin, reflection siya nung mga gusto nating gawin. Pero hindi siya yung kabuuan ng kung sino tayo. Okay? So I want to send you out there to create more content, no? More positive content. And always think na sustainable ba to? Okay? Kasi mas mahirap yung tinodo mo lahat sa isang video, lahat ng kulay, lahat ng transitions. Itong video na to na isa na ginawa ko, nandiyan na siya lahat. But then the question would be, paano yung susunod mong video? Pwede mo ba siyang i-match? Kaya mo ba siyang gawin uli? Kasi doon napapasok yung balance natin ng sustainability when it comes to content creation. Huwag masyadong magpapa-pressure kahit sa sarili. Okay? So, yan muna for now. Everything else, you can go and learn din on YouTube as I have. Sige, tawagin ko na back yung aking kumare. Joyce?
Mare, gusto ko yung last point mo. Huwag kang magpapa-pressure kahit sa sarili mo. Kailangan natin sundin parehas yung advice mo na yan.
I-supercut na yan.
Hindi lang para sa atin. Yes, hindi lang para sa mga viewers natin at mga kapwa nating madigiskarte. Dapat para sa sarili din natin yan. I love it. Coach, I absolutely enjoyed your presentation kasi you got into details of things that I didn't even think about, when it comes to, for example, yung cover art mo nga and even the thumbnail of your videos, how that affects people clicking into it, being mindful of how you use even the grid on your phone kung dun ka mag-shoot. And, I love you. So, malamang madami kang magandang maririnig sa akin. So, I'll just read some of the comments from other people. So, talaga na hindi lang ako ang nag-enjoy ng presentation mo. I love this one from Maricel Aticaldo. Sabi niya, wow, thank you po sa presentation. Galing, ganda, grabe. Ganyan pala kahirap ang ginagawa nila. Hindi lang mahirap, madali din, di ba? Kasi nagbigay ng option si Coach Laika na hindi kailangan maganda yung equipment mo sa umpisa. You can start with whatever you already have. Sabi naman ni Sharina, Teacher Laika, the best mag-explain, yung makikinig ka talaga sa kanya. I love it. And this one from the one and Harley, sabi niya, hindi hadlang ang kakulangan ng gamit. You have minds to think and hands to create content. Great feedback from everyone joining us here this afternoon. So right now, Coach, meron tayong mga questions. Ayan, from the one and Harley, sabi niya, what's the best gadgets to use when you want to start being a YouTube video creator? And what's the best app for editing?
All right. So like I said, whatever you have, you can use it na. Pero siguro, sasabihin ko na lang yung mga standards natin. No? Wala akong pinopromote ha, na brand or any device. Pero as long as siguro kaya niya na yung 1080 na HD, no? Actually, lahat na ng phones yan. Kahit yung mga baseline natin na phones, kaya na yan. Okay na yun for creating videos. Now, when it comes to editing, you can explore options din. Pero again, kung hindi kayang maka-afford, no? Kasi may mga apps na libre, may mga apps na hindi. Kung hindi pa kayang bumili ng app, daanin ninyo doon sa quality ng raw files that you get. Kasi minsan hindi mo na kailangan mag-edit eh. And in fact, share ko lang, no, yung mga first maybe 50 videos that I have on YouTube, noon-noon pa, walang edit yun. Kasi hindi kaya ng device ko noon, back in 2014, na mag-edit. So, ang editing lang na most na nagagawa ko, puputulin mo yung simula, puputulin mo yung dulo. And, naitawid natin yung videos na yon. So, again, pwede naman na ganun yung simula mo. A bit, piece of advice lang here. Kung meron kang gagamitin na app, tapos may nakalagay na watermark, mas maganda kung bumili na lang kayo ng full version or maghanap kayo ng app na walang watermark. Kasi it's very distracting. No? May mga nagki-click out dahil lang doon. So yun na lang sasabihin ko kasi mahirap mag-recommend. Pero you can play around rin yung pinakamadali for you.
And I like, Coach, sinabi mo kanina, ang daming options talaga. Like, you can really look for a lot of options that you can use. Free options, or yun nga, sa maliit na price, di ba, pwede mong bilhin yung full version niya so that you can use it to edit your videos na walang ganong watermark na hindi ka madidistract, especially for the people who's watching. I'm the same. Hindi ko mapanood talaga yung mga videos na may watermark. It's just so distracting for me. Okay, another question here from Irenea Bettina Gonzalez. Sabi niya, nowadays, with the ever-evolving digital world, improvements in aesthetics, and editing techniques, how can we maintain the authenticity of our content?
I have the privilege kasi of going back to my roots, no? So, lagi lang ako mababalik, bakit ba ako nag-start gumawa ng content? Ano ba yung klase ng content na pinoproduce ko noon? At kung kinokonsume ng mga viewers ko yung content na low quality, what that gives me assurance of is that they come to my channel to learn, to watch the content I produce, not for the editing, not for the aesthetics. So, ang sagot dito, nakakatawa kasi ang high-tech ng question niya, pero ang sagot dito, low-tech, which is, sino ka ba? Anong klase ba yung videos mo? Ano ba yung value na nabibigay natin dun sa viewers natin? Kasi kung yung bagay na yon, yung mga core ng content mo, kahit anong ipatong mo na aesthetics or techniques, it will only enhance the content. Pero kung all they go to your channel for or yung mga ganon, yung mga nawibeplash sila sa dami ng mga transitions, over time masasawaan sila. So dig deep ano yung value na bibigay mo sa viewer mo. That's what they'll keep coming back for, at least from my experience.
And Coach, may I just say that you're one of those creators talaga that it's so clear what your value is, what your vertical is, katulad ng sinabi ni Drea kanina, that you want to help and teach and serve. And I think that's so helpful. Katulad ng sinabi mo, it is important that it looks good, that it sounds good, that it's aesthetic. But at the end of the day, what do people keep coming back for? It's what they know you're working towards. What is the foundation of the content that you're creating? And that's really something that's the most important, I'd like to think, in content creation, and something that I see you practice in the way that you create content. We've got another question here from Jing Girawa. Sabi niya, hi Coach Laika, sometimes I don't know where to get ideas or inspiration for my shots and content. What can I do to address this? Coach, I'll just add to what Jing asks. Ngayon kasi especially diba, with the setups that we have and of course everything that's happening around us, mahirap maging inspired sometimes. Talagang mauubos ang creative juices mo. Paano mo nga ba nakukuha yung creativity at inspiration na yun ulit?
Alam mo, consume content din eh. No? Napaka-valuable nung proseso na yon. Na when you consume content, maging mindful ka rin in how you consume it. Yung iba kasi ganito, no? Magtitingin ng mga videos for inspiration daw ko, no? Pero pag nakita nila yung video, naku, hindi ko kaya yan gawin with my current production setup. Imbis na na-inspire tayo, na-pressure tayo, no? So, how do we get inspired? You consume a lot of content, tapos think of ways na, okay, paano ko kung i-breakdown ko to, kung gagawin ko tong low-tech, kung didiskartehan ko tong content na to, paano ko siya mailalabas doon sa kung ano yung tools na meron ako. So, ang nangyayari ngayon, instead of you copying things, no, ina-adapt mo siya doon sa kaya mong gawin. And nagiging problem solving siya, and nagiging ikaw din siya. Kasi yung magagawa ng isang creator na may drone, na merong mamahaling Ronin or gimbal or anything like that, eh hindi din magagawa ng katulad natin. Pero yung mga solutions na maiisip natin, baka hindi din nila maisip kasi hindi nila kailangan solusyonan yung mga problema na yon. So, dun yung mga bagay na pwede natin gawin. Another thing would be to go back to the classics, no? So, hindi lang puro vlog ang i-consume natin. Manood kayo ng films, no? Manood kayo ng old school na mga programming. Manood kayo minsan kahit ng traditional media. Kasi you would notice there, no? Kung paano nila kinakat, 'di ba? Ano ba yung mga ginagawa nila para ma-distract yung mga tao? Ano ba yung mga ginagawa nila para mag-transition? Kasi iba yung nanonood ka lang to consume content na parang mindlessly consuming content. Iba rin yung nanonood ka to really pick and see paano nila ginawa to? Ano yung frame na ginamit nila dito? Ipopost ko nga to kasi parang bakit malabo yung background? Paano nila achieve yung bokeh na yun? Bakit naging storytelling tool yung nag-shift ng focus yung lens? Yung mga bagay na yun, magagawa natin if we're consuming content, not just to watch content, but to break down piece by piece and reconstruct it dun sa paraan na kaya natin gawin.
Ang ganda nun. Coach, alam mo, isa pa sa mga naiisip ko rin talaga, from what you said, what I got is, you have to be curious. Because instead of feeling pressured or hindi ko kayang gawin yan or mas magaling sa akin yan, mas maganda yung setup niya, you have to keep asking questions. How can I achieve that? How can I twist it and make it my own? How can I be better by getting all of these inspiration from other content creators? That inquisitiveness and that curiosity talaga is the root of being inspired in all of our life stuff. Hindi lang sa content creation, di ba? We've got another question here from Jill Mojica. Coach, sabi niya, what are the top 3 production tools that you would recommend for beginners? Kasi ang dami mong na-mention nga kanina, from beginners talaga to expert level na with your switcher and everything. Pero para sa mga beginners, ano yung top 3 na yun, Coach?
Okay, so balik tayo dun sa pinag-usapan natin kanina, audio is very important. So, kung meron ka, kasi yun din yung ginawa ko. Share ko lang sa inyo, no? Kasi nagsimula ako again with a very old janky camera. Walang microphone ito, no? Hindi pa uso nun yung ganitong attachment. So, ang goal ko noon, sabi ko kailangan pag nag-video ako malinaw yung voice. So, yun din ang first purchase ko when I started my channel. Una kong pinag-ipunan, microphone. So, kapag meron ka ng microphone, again, maganda kung pwede mo siyang gamitin sa multiple devices, good na yon. So, first production tool mo yon. Now, second mo na production tool, no, again, no, kahit hindi ka pa nag-level up ng camera mo, would be ilaw, no? Kasi kapag may maayos tayong ilaw, hindi tayo nakukulong ng shooting time. Dati kasi, I can only shoot between 4 to 6 p.m. Kasi pag masyadong tanghali, masyadong maliwanag, kapag gabi, madilim. So, dahil doon, nalilimit yung paggawa ko ng content. Pero pag meron kang ilaw, invest in a good light, at least buong araw, pwede kang mag-shoot, no? So, yun yung isa sa mga pwede mong pag-isipan. Find something na pwede mong i-adjust yung pagdidim niya at saka yung kanyang warmth or yung temperature niya para pwede mo siyang laruin. And using that, marami ka nang magagawa. Okay? Now, the third thing na sabihin mag-invest kayo in would be something like, alam nyo yun, lalagyanan lang, like, or tripod. Alam ko may mga hindi na iisip to minsan, pero napakahalaga nito, especially if you are a vlogger na lumalabas kayo, no? Kasi kung nakaganito ka lang, eventually mangangalay ka. Pag nangalay ka, tatamarin ka mag-shoot, wala kang mako-content. Naranasan ko yan, no? Pag vlog daw kunyari, pero wala namang output kasi tinamad, no? So, get something like that para stable din yung video camera mo. Kung katulad ko na talking head, kung nakasetup na siya lagi dyan, katulad ako, nandito ako sa studio ko ngayon, sa office ko, lagi itong nakasetup, uupo na lang ako, bubuksan ko na lang yung camera. So, nai-incentivize ako na gumawa ng mas maraming content. So, when we're purchasing things, hindi lang siya lagi yung anong magpapaganda sa video ko, pero ano yung gaganahan ako para mas marami akong magawang video. Yan yung mga importanteng pag-iisipan, lalo na kung nagsisimula ka pa lang. Kasi ang daming bumibili ng mamahaling gamit, pinaka-top of the line na mga lenses, na mga cameras, hindi rin nagagamit kasi tinatamad mag-setup ng tripod, tinatamad kasi mag-edit ng audio. So mag-isip ka kung ano yung mas gaganahan ka gumawa, yun yung simulan mong bilhin.
Love that. So again, microphone, light, at syempre tripod or paglalagyan mo ng equipment na meron ka. I think this is the last question that we have from Tech de la Cruz. Coach, sabi niya, hi Coach Laika, what advice would you give to the Digiskarteng Pinays watching us right now who'd like to become inspiring content creators like you?
You know, when we talk about being Digiskarteng Pinay, the essence of it is in the name itself, no? So we're basically using diskarte and digital tools to make sure na we create something positive, not just for us, but for a lot of other Pinays out there. So again, dig deep, no? Hanapin natin yung purpose natin. Alam nyo, isa sa mga nakakatuwang i-observe is that when you ask a lot of creators, no, and I've had the privilege of meeting a bunch of them, yung iba nasa trad media na bago naging content creator, yung iba kaling sa iba-ibang fields, isa dun sa recurring theme sa maraming top creators at sa maraming very inspiring creators yung fact na gumagawa sila ng content hindi lang para sa sarili nila, kundi gumagawa sila because they want to inspire, they want to teach, they want to educate, they want to entertain. Kadalasan, inspired tayo ng mga kapwa Pinay natin na nakapalibot sa atin. So when you want to be inspiring, kadalasan hindi naman iniisip na yan ng mga tao, no? So, hindi naman, ikaw ba, Joyce, gumigising ka tapos iniisip mo, sana gusto ko maging inspiring today. Di ba? Decision ko maging inspiring today. Kadalasan hindi siya ganun eh. Pero what we're doing, all we're doing is sharing yung journey namin as we're learning and growing. And when you do that, you get to inspire other people to do the same. So, yun lang. Be the best that you could be with what you have. Eventually, when people see what you're doing, maisip nila, okay, how can I do that then? Pero, in my own way. I think yun naman yung ibig sabihin na inspiring eh.
Grabe naman, Coach. Ang dami namang inspiring quotes from your presentation today and the Q&A that we have, but I absolutely agree with you. It really is an overspill. You know, being inspiring to other people, quote unquote, is really just about being inspired every day, being curious and having that foundational purpose that we have with everything that we do, whether it's our content creation, our personal lives, or the other adventures that we have every single day. Maraming salamat, Coach Laika. You are amazing as always. And for those people who are still looking for more at nabitin kayo sa workshop ni Coach Laika today, nako, you want to hear more from her, especially on her Digiskarteng Trabaho tips, you can visit the Digiskarteng Pinay YouTube channel. Thank you, Coach Laika. Bye, Mare. Now, to our viewers, maybe you can share your content production tips with us as well. If not, maybe ways that you play a strong ally to our Digiskarteng Pinays. Use the hashtag Madigiscarte ako to join our conversation online. You know, I love that Coach Laika was reiterating, ano nga ba yung main word behind Madigiscarte? It's madiskarte, diba? It's finding ways and reasons and being creative about creating content and going about our businesses, our family lives, and everything else in between. So I hope that you guys were inspired from her workshop as much as I am. And thank you so much dahil ang dami niyo pa rin nagko-comment, mga nag-review dito at nagbibigay ng sarili niyong feedback, ng comments niyo and suggestions to all of our content creators who have spoken here today. Now, as I mentioned, feedback is so important to us and we love to hear from you. So please answer the feedback form by scanning this QR code being flashed on your screen right now because your voice matters and we love to take it into consideration in the next event or online training. Kung meron kayong mga comments or suggestions on how we can do this better and even encourage us in what we're doing right now, please go on ahead and do that. Ayan, guys. I'll give you a bit more time to scan the QR code. And of course, huwag niyong kalimutan on your social media pages, diba? I-share niyo na rin ang inyong mga Madigiscarte akong mga comments. Ano yung mga na-pick up niyo from today? I've been seeing so many people commenting. So, tignan natin, ha? I just want to say hello to some people who have been commenting and giving their advice. Let's see. O, diba? True, it's not just about the gadgets, sabi ni Team Tara Laguna Official. It's not just about the gadgets that you have, but what you want to create instead. O, diba? May mga nag-hashtag ng hashtag Madigiscarte ako. And Maricel saying, thank you so much. O, diba? A lot of people still commenting and sharing their own insights and experiences in content creation. So right now, let's go in depth on how to utilize the YouTube platform to your advantage. Our viewers at home might ask, paano nga ba? Ano nga ba yung ginagawa ng mga favorite vloggers natin to make sure that their content reaches its potential when it comes to views and to shares? Alam ko, excited na kayo for our next guests because our next guests are one of the cutest couples on YouTube. They began sharing their unique and colorful story 3 years ago through vlogging, where they have continuously found joy in having a platform where they can be their authentic selves and capture authentic experiences, all while inspiring others around the world. I feel like you guys already know who I am about to introduce. Kilala niyo na ba kung sino yung mga next guest natin, guys? Let's give a virtual round of applause to Tanch Lobete and Sarah Garcia of Team Tara as we talk about their best practices on YouTube. Hey! Hi, Team Tara!
Hi, Joyce! Hello, everyone!
Okay. Sabay pa talaga kayo. Parang simultaneous and in sync talaga even yung saying hi nyo. You guys want to say hi first to everyone who's been waiting for you kanina pa? Go ahead.
Sobrang napaka-sweet ninyo for staying tuned and thank you so much for really supporting Digiskarteng Pinay kasi for sure marami tayong matututunan today.
We're also excited
Yay.
to i-meet yung mga new creators na nandito rin, yung mga 1,000 subscribers or more. Yan, yung mga excited matuto ngayon. Yan, we're also excited to share everything.
And pressured kami, Joyce, kasi kanina nasa backstage kami. Ikaw at saka si Coach Laika, English yan. So kinakabahan kami kanina. Buti na
Pulang-pula na
lang.
siya.
Pula-pula ako ngayon. Pero good thing, nagtagalog ka. So we're okay, we're good.
Grabe naman kayo, hindi. No? Nagpapaka-professional lang kami ni Coach Laika kanina kasi magkumari kami. Pag hindi kami nag-English, feeling namin nagkikwentuhan lang kami. So, kwentuhan lang naman tayo today. And alam mo, kanina pa, di ba, ang dami mga nagko-comment here na Team Tara din sila. And you know, ang nakaka-inspire talaga sa akin ay ang daming nagko-comment sa kanila na they started from your very first vlogs. Pinapanood nila talaga yung journey nyo from the dreams and aspiration na sinashare nyo sa kanila. Pero sa mga bago pa lang dito at syempre yung mga Madigiskarteng Pinay who are just getting introduced to you guys, pwede nyo bang ikwento sa amin kung paano nag-umpisa ang Team Tara?
Ayun, actually, it was Tanchelli. She's Tanchelli. I'm Sarah. Tanchelli started this channel ang plan lang niya sana is to have a way to earn an extra income kasi pareho kaming flight attendants at that time. It was 2019 when she started her channel. Sorry. She's a single mom and as flight attendants, yung budget niya actually is for another thing, which is she's studying as a pilot. Yan, so nagsischooling siya as a pilot. So sabi niya, nag-search siya online and then she
Discover.
may mga nakita siya sila Anclutes, mga makeup
Digiskarteng
vloggers.
Pinay din
Yes, mga
talaga.
Digiskarteng Pinays din na sabi niya, uy, YouTube is now an income generating platform. So sabi niya, why not I also start my own channel? So she started venturing on her life as a flight attendant. And then she used this platform to inspire the mga aspiring flight attendants. And then I was just in the background at that time. Background lang ako. And then until such time, we have the courage to finally say what or truly who we are. That's the time na parang mas inaccept kami ng tao. Kasi at first, yung sa flight attendant na category is marami namang may mga nag-gain siyang subscribers, but then when we opened up what we truly are, dun parang mas na feel namin yung pagtanggap ng mga subscribers ng mga tao. So yun yung medyo amazing about it. That's when we started Team Tara official.
Amazing. Tanch, ang daming mga nagko-comment na from the very get-go pa lang daw, nung inuumpisahan mo pa nga lang yung channel mo, katulad ng sinabi ni Sarah, with your FA journey and FA adventures, na nanonood na daw sila noon. And hanggang ngayon, naging Team Tara na, they're still supporting you. Pero di ba kanina narinig natin yung mga speakers natin, sinabi nila, ang importante na merong focus, kumbaga, yung channel natin. And as Sarah mentioned, ang daming mga focus na iba-iba, 'di ba? So kayo nag-umpisa yung channel mo, Tanch, na iba yung focus. So paano niyo naman na-establish na ito na yung magiging focus or path na gusto niyo gawin with your content?
Actually, Joyce, yun nga, at first nagsimula ako to inspire aspiring flight attendants. And ngayon, it transitioned to becoming a family vlog. Yung ganun. So, what we really do is just document ourselves, just being true, just being real. And nung we came out, we shared our story, and yung brave kami to show the world who we really are, that's when viewers started relating to us. And eventually, nakagawa kami ng family or community sa YouTube. And I believe, hindi talaga kami yung nag-establish nung channel namin. It's them. And, ayan, that's the thing about content creating, is at first, you do you. And then next, listen to your community.
Ang ganda nun. At first, you do you, and then next, listen to your community. And I love that kasi parang talagang na-highlight mo, no, sa journey nyo na it's first about being authentic and honest about who you are, letting that be known to the communities that you have, and then listening to your community. And kita nyo naman today, ang dami-dami ng mga followers and subscribers nyo and your viewers and your fans who are here today. It's such a strong community, but I want to ask, paano kayo nagsistay connected with your community? Kanina, si Drea was talking about it, that community engagement is so important. How do you guys go about that?
First of all, we have to understand our community. With the use of the YouTube studio, sobrang helpful yun kasi we see the analytics, nabanggit ngayon ni Miss Andrea. So, doon mo makikita yung age group, yung nationality, gender, sino bang nanonood sa inyo, sinong minamarket mo, who are you engaging to. So it's very important to consider what contents to share to them because you know who is watching your content. No? And then, from YouTube Studio, then you can manage your comments. So from there, after siguro we upload our vlogs, siguro in the first 30 minutes, we engage with them by reading and replying to their comments. A simple, thank you so much for watching our vlogs, like that. Or yung simpleng pag-heart or pag-like lang sa comments nila, masaya na sila. So, sobrang heartwarming na na-appreciate na nila yung mga ganon. And also from time to time, pag medyo backlog na yung mga videos namin, kasi hindi kami yung daily na updated di ba? So, ang ginagawa namin is meron ding pa-YouTube live paminsan. So,
Very helpful.
Very helpful yan kasi ito naman, real-time connection with our viewers. So, yun. Those are some ways
To connect.
I love that. Tanch, meron ka gusto i-add?
I think nasabi na po ng wife ko. Na-discard
Okay. Nagawa ng discarding. Gusto ko yun na. It's about the comments, really maximizing yung mga tools na meron na already on YouTube. And yung mga live streams nga talaga, no? Kasi as you mentioned, Sarah, it's so important na nakakausap mo sila, na parang nag-exchange talaga kayo. It's kind of like a video call, pero tayo lang yung naka-video. Pero nakikita nila, katulad ngayon, di ba, nakikita natin yung mga comments nila, ano yung mga reactions nila sa pinag-uusapan natin, and how it's making them feel. Ngayon naman, I think one of the reasons why talagang mahal kayo ng community nyo is dahil very authentic kayo and true to who you are. And I know na kapag nagkaroon na ng malaking community or malaki na yung platform natin, minsan nagiging challenge to, di ba? So, sa mga madidiskarteng Pinays out there na gumagawa na rin ng sarili nilang content, meron ba kayong advice on how to make sure na yung content will stay authentic and true to themselves wherever their community or their channel goes?
Ngayon, for us, Joyce, our content stays authentic kasi it's our story. It's us. It's our family. And I believe naman, kahit kanino, no one knows your story as much as you do. So, always, parati mong iisipin na kung ano yung ipopost mo sa social media, especially on YouTube, it is you. It reflects you. So, always respect pa rin yung credibility mo. It's not, for me kasi, it's important yung makalive ka ng mark or makalive ka ng impact sa mga tao kaysa yung short-term na fame na nag-viral ka, pero ang kapalit nun is yung credibility mo or yung dignity. So, yung mga ganun na mga bagay, I think it's very important na isa-isip pa rin natin na we are who we are pa rin kahit sa social media.
I love that. Walang dichotomy, kumbaga, no, na iba yung tao sa real life, tas iba yung tao na nakikita nila online. Yung integrity na yun. At saka, alam mo, napapansin ko, people actually feel that. You know, when you're not being honest about who you are and you're just saying things dahil feeling natin, yun yung magiging maganda or kakagusto ng tao, alam nila yun eh. And so it's better at the end of the day to be honest about who you are. And katulad nga nung sinabi mo, be authentic with your credibility and your integrity as a person, whether it's offline or online. I love it. Okay, sige. Ang dami nagko-comments. Gusto ko sana magbasa ng mga comments, guys, pero ang bilis lang ng movement. So itutuloy ko na lang yung mga questions ko. Tapos tignan natin yung mga comments mamaya. Kanina, meron ding minention si Drea when it comes to planning out content, diba? Kasi content planning is so important. Sabi din ni Coach Laika yun na kailangan pag-isipan natin kung sustainable ba yung productivity system natin. Kumbaga, kung makakapag-release ba tayo ng videos, things like that. So, paano ba kayo nagpa-plan on what videos to shoot and or post? Diba? Sabi nyo kanina, Sarah, na hindi naman everyday yung vlogs nyo, pero paano nyo pinaplano yung content nyo so that it's always present to your community and they know na merong certain level of predictability with your content?
Ayun, ayun nga, kasi kami, ang mahirap sa amin is, I'm still flying as a flight attendant. Siya is resigned na. So, ang mahirap sa amin mag-plan because of my schedule. Medyo hindi siya predictable and also medyo mahirap yung planning ahead. Pero we make sure na from time to time, parang nagbe-brainstorm kaming dalawa. We check on the contents, we check on the, ano ba yung tawag?
Kung ano yung improvement pa natin.
Kung saan kami kailangan pang mag-work on, and then ayun, we look back on the...
And that's why we realize na yung, I think yung nabasa natin nung isang araw, from Brian Tracy.
Yung 6P rule.
6P rule.
Sabi niya, prior
Planning.
proper planning prevents poor performance. Ayun. So,
And we're working on that.
yan yung min-workout namin ngayon na it
True.
really
Needs
needs
pa rin ng proper planning.
Ulit, 6 P's. Prior proper planning prevents poor performance. Tama ba?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Ang ganda nun. I love that kasi meron akong before na nabasa rin na sabi niya, right opportunities come all the time. It's just the preparedness that you have to ask. Kasi kahit na merong magandang opportunity na lumapit sa'yo, kung ikaw as a person, hindi ka prepared to step into that opportunity, hindi siya magpa-fly, di ba? So, I appreciate the honesty na, you know, sometimes yung preparation na yun, hindi mo din talaga magagawa minsan as content creators, lalo na because of the circumstances that you have, you, Sarah, being still working and flying and traveling all the time. But it's always good to look at ano ba yung mga bagay na pwede nating ma-improve pa as content creators. Or even how you said na you go around it. Kung ano man yung challenge nyo with the planning, you just have to figure out a way to go about it. Thank you for sharing that. Ito naman, meron akong next question. And I know that this is pretty personal dahil as content creators, we always get asked this question, but sometimes I don't know how to answer it kasi mahirap siya na question. Pero para sa inyo, ano yung biggest challenge na face nyo so far as content creators? I know na dahil present kayo sa digital space, di ba, ang daming mga challenges from all directions. Ano yung biggest challenge na yun para sa inyo at paano kayo nag-rise above it?
Ayun, as Sarah said earlier, Joyce, na we started, I really prayed for a financial help kasi it's really hard to be a single mother and pinapaaral ko sarili ko na maging piloto. But then I discovered nga na YouTube is really helpful. And for me, nung nalaman ko yun, I realized sa sarili ko mismo na if there's someone who can do it or who made it, I can too. And starting from then on, talagang nag-upload na ako sa YouTube, ganyan. Kasi YouTube gives unlimited possibilities unlimited opportunities. Pero there's a price to pay, a good price to pay. And sa akin, for me, yung challenge ko doon is na-overwhelm ako because I was trying to please them. I want to give the love back. But then I realized na I'm slowly losing myself na instead na magstay lang kami to be authentic or to be true, piniplease ko na sila. And yun yung na-realize ko na people love you not because you pleased them. So, I think sa mga nagsastart pa ng YouTube channel, it's very important na to focus on the assignment. Record yourself doing you, alam mo yun, and very important to leave a mark. Yun yung parati mong iisipin. Do not please people. And pangalawang challenge, yun nga, for the first 2 years, parang ang dami pang pwedeng i-share. But then, on the 3rd year, parang sabi ko, hala, ano pa bang mako-content namin? Ano pang masishare namin? Pero parating naming binabalik-balikan, ano ba yung core namin? Ano ba yung reason bakit namin sinimulan ito? And that is, ang core namin is to be real. So, paano kami magiging real? Ano yung, bakit kami real? And we are real because of our story and our purpose. Ano yung purpose namin? Parang sinasagot ko yung mga questions ko instead of dwelling on my doubts and fears. So, yung ano naman doon is, ano nga yun? Ano nga yun? Yung, na inaano namin yung sarili namin na, to focus on our purpose, and that is to inspire people. Kasi kahit naman ano yung gawin mo sa video, makikita sa mga mata mo, sa spark ng mga mata mo, sa happiness, sa eagerness mo, to inspire people. And that's what really matters for us. Oo. Ayun. So, I rise above it. Thank you.
struggles and everything.
You do you. Kasi
I love it.
walang ibang Hala? Oo, sige. Okay na, Joyce. Yun na.
Walang ibang ikaw. Tutuloy ko na,
Yes.
Tansha.
Oo.
Yung ba yun? Walang ibang ikaw. You do you dahil walang ibang ikaw. Gusto ko yun, Tanch. I love the honesty because I think pag content creator ka nga, di ba, parang pag, yun nga, like you said, pag nafe-feel mo na yung love, nakikita mo na how your community is engaging, bigla kang magkakaroon ng pressure na, teka lang, I have to keep pleasing them. I have to keep creating content na para sa kanila. Pero gusto ko yung sinabi mo na kita kasi nila yun eh, di ba? Kita nila kapag ginagawa mo lang siya not because it's out of your heart or out of your purpose, as you mentioned, but because you want them to feel happy. But at the end of the day, for your community to be happy, dapat makikita nila yung honesty in your experiences and in who you are talaga. Sarah, did you want to add anything to that?
I think, okay na yung sinabi ni Tansha. Ramdam ko yung may mga hugot pa siya sa mga struggles na hindi. Sabay naman namin inaano yung mga challenges na yan, di ba? Lahat naman tayo, we're all a work in progress pa. Yung mga, wala gawaan, pero
At maganda yun kasi at least may kasama ka to face that challenges. Good thing I have you. Ay, sorry, Joyce. Stay focused.
I love it. I love the synchronicity in all of your answers. And yes, tama naman talaga kayo, 'di ba? Everyone's a work in progress and kailangan na maging proud ka in who you are because you're the only you that exists in this world. Thank you for that. Okay, I think right now before I ask my last question, tignan natin kung meron tayong questions from our community here to all of our viewers here. Let's see. Ang daming questions, guys. So umpisahan na natin. We have more than 750 people watching right now. So let's see if we have questions from our community. Ayan, from Danny Girl SD. Sabi niya lang pala, not a question, but she says, thank you Google Philippines, ang dami po naming matututunan. Thank you, Danny, for tuning in. Ayan, this is a question from Angelica Kai. Sabi niya, how can you cope up po with the people who throw negative comments towards you? Kind of related to the last question that I asked.
Ikaw sasagot.
Ikaw yung sasagot yan. I'm a work in progress.
Kasi, madali siyang sabihin. Kasi iba-iba rin tayo ng personalities. Kasi parang narinig ko rin kanina kay Coach Laika na depende sa personality ng creator yan kung how you handle your channel or how you handle your yan, how to cope up with the people who throw negative comments towards you. As for me, madali lang sabihin na i-ignore lang sila, pero magkaiba kami ni Taj, so doon na nagkakaroon ng pero
kaya natin to. Hindi.
Ay, pwede lang na i-ignore lang sila, di ba? They will come. Darating at darating din kasi yan
Yun din yung pinasok natin. So, meron. But,
meron at meron. Kahit
siguro,
anong gawin mo, maging...
It's better na to make it as a positive criticism. Wow, coming from me. Yes. To grow. Yes, to grow more, di ba?
Yes, that's right.
To improve. Okay, Joyce?
Back to you.
Gusto ko yun, to grow more and to improve. Hindi, gusto ko yung sinabi mo, Taj and Sarah. Totoo naman talaga yun, di ba, na you have the power to respond to it the way that you want to. Kasi pag hinayaan mo siyang mag-affect sa'yo in a negative way na wala kang parang power, hindi mo ita-take back yung power mo, doon nagiging problema. But if you stand in your power na, I can choose to use this as a positive, diba, way to improve or be better, or I can choose to, as you mentioned, ignore it, or probably not even ignore it, but let it slide, diba, hayaan mo na, and hindi ka maging defined by it, doon magkakaroon ng strength in those negative comments na you take back your power. So, I appreciate that. Okay, another question here from Shami Anuweb. Sabi niya, paano po kayo nagtutulungan to make a good content po? Love you both.
Love you siya. Well, hindi. Paano kami nagtutulungan? Yun nga, yung content kasi namin is wala. Yung katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, focus on the assignment, record yourself doing you, doing your family. Alam mo yun? Recording lang kung anong nangyayari, and then eventually magugulat ka na lang plus ipagsama mo na be an inspiration or leave a mark sa mga nanonood sa'yo, magugulat ka na lang pag-edit mo, wow, may nabuo pala akong magandang
Story,
content. Ayun.
That's actually really good advice kasi ako, natatakot ako na ganun eh, yung i-record lang whatever I'm doing kasi parang sabi ko, sino ba nang magkaka-interest dito? Pero one time, nag-release ako ng vlog na doing our groceries as a family and it had a lot of views compared to the other vlogs that I created. And I was like, bakit? Ano yung vlog kami kung saan kami nag-travel, ang dami lang pinakita sa inyo. Tapos itong doing groceries yung nagustuhan nyo. Di ba ang weird?
Sobrang
May experiencing kayo na gano'n?
Sobrang amazing. Kasi for us, siguro na nagre-record, parang wala lang. Pero para sa iba, actually, ganun din ako eh. Marami din ako pinapanood ng mga content creators like sila Chris Uy. Natutuwa na ako sa simpleng bagay na ginagawa nila. And even, siguro sa iba din, ganun din siguro talaga sa atin. Na parang simple lang yung ginagawa natin, pero
relatable.
Relatable. Yan. Oh, amazing, no?
Yeah, tama. I love that. And I think yung tanggalin natin yung inhibition na yun na it has to look good or it has to be something. Minsan katulad nung sinabi nyo, di ba, pag nag-edit na kayo or pag nirelease nyo na, dun nyo na makikita na, wala lang pala sa akin yun, katulad ng sinabi ni Sarah. Pero to someone who was watching it, it was relatable. It was something that affected them in a positive way. So I appreciate that. We have a comment here from Vexana Love. Sabi niya, their concept is realistic. The most remarkable for me is Miss Tanch's advice, which is, do not wait for the moment. It's the movement. Very effective talaga. Anong masasabi mo doon, Tanch?
Sa Hamilton po yun. Yes. It's not the moment, it's the movement. Yes. Favorite song.
Yeah.
Pero totoo, diba? Ang deep. Pero actually, kanta siya.
Ina-apply.
Diba?
Inaano mo siya sa real life. And sinishare lang din natin sa mga.
Kasi kung moment, mamaya ako pa feel mag-video. Saka na, tinatamad pa ako. Pero hindi eh. It's the movement. So, record.
Do it.
Do you.
Mm.
Kasi ang hirap mag-edit kung wala kang material.
Ayun,
kung
yun
onti yung videos mo. Oo. Ayan.
Actually, si Tanch kasi yung
Editor-in-chief.
Editor-in-chief. Oo, so
Opo, hirap.
Tama. Kaya shoot lang ng shoot. Pero totoo yun, isa sa mga nabasa ko rin before, pag natatakot ka daw na mag-start sa isang project or isang bagay na gusto mong gawin, you always have to have a proclivity for action. Yun yung sabi niya, proclivity for action, meaning kailangan mag-focus ka na may gawin ka lang. Kasi kung iisipin mo na, what's the moment, mawawala ka sa movement mawawala ka sa let's just do it. Let's just put something out there. And sometimes, pag nagkaroon ka na ng movement, tsaka nagkakaroon ng traction, di ba, na okay, tuloy-tuloy na nagagawa mo na siya. Kasi kung pinag-iisipan mo lang siya na, maghihintay ako ng inspiration, maghihintay ako ng magandang gagawin namin bago ako mag-shoot, minsan hindi siya darating eh. So, sometimes you just have to move and do it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Another question here from Ellen May Destacamento. Sabi niya, ano po ba yung mai-advise nyo sa nagpa-plan pa lang mag-start at na maging content creators? Para sa mga beginners, guys, anong gusto nyong i-advise sa kanila?
Hi, Ellen. I think it's very important, again, na-mention na namin to start. Yun nga, di ba, how did we learn to walk ba? Di ba, it's first step. First step is very important. Magkakaroon kasi ulit kami ng baby, so excited ako sa yung first step niya. So yun, first step ang importante. And then eventually, you'll go there. Tulungan ako lang. Kung yung sinabi ko kanina, kung nakinig ka, okay yun. Diba? Pero ikaw, love ko.
Ano po, parang hindi natin na-touch base din yung about sa passion nila.
Ay,
syempre, oo. Iba-ibang passion din naman to. So, kung meron kayong mga hilig, kasi yung ibang content creators, may mga specific silang content. Just like sila teacher, Coach Laika, mga teachers sila, and sila Joyce Prince sa journaling and all.
Motivational speakers.
Yan, diba? Pero kami more on vlogging lang talaga. Yung iba, cooking, yung iba sa bike, sports. So, it's up to you kung anong passion mo, kung yun yung gusto mong simulan, yun yung gusto mong i-share.
Yun lang din pala yung gusto kong i-add sa'yo, my love, na ang instead na question natin, what's our content? I think dapat ang question dyan is, what's our passion? Ayan. Okay.
Si Ellen.
That's a good
Iabangan natin ang
question. Yeah,
kanyang
that's a good question. Si Ellen, naabangan natin yung content mo, Ellen. Di ba,
Yes.
meron kang existential question na kailangan mong sagutin. What is your passion?
Pressure.
Oo.
May assignment pa
Hindi,
si
pero
Ellen.
totoo yun. Oo, kailangan mo magsulat ngayon, di ba? Pag-isipan mo, what is my passion? Not just what is your content. Pero totoo yun, kasi yung start of point mo shouldn't just be what you're gonna create, but really what you're passionate to create. Tama ba yun? Yan,
Galing.
gano'n. Okay, another question here from Kapitayo. Sabi niya, what do you do with the raw videos? Do you still save everything? That's a good production question.
Nga. If mga special na hindi siya nasali sa vlog, tinatago namin siya. Yun.
Yung mga sa tingin mong magagamit pa siyang
yung for
materials for
memories lang.
future, din.
Or sa,
references.
mo lang din, sa sarili mo, for
Yes.
personal use. Yes.
But the others, wala na.
wala, delete
Kasi
kasi
sobrang laking files din. Baka yun din yung worry ng iba na, paano kung record ako ng record? Wala na akong capacity. Ayun. Delete. After editing, delete na lang. Tapos kung may mga important, yun yung mga itatago. So yun po, kape tayo. We hope we answered your question.
Yay! Thank you, Kapitayo. Okay, sige. Another question here. I think this is my last question for you guys. And I think very important to, especially para sa mga Digiskarteng Pinays na nanonood ngayon. Alam kong maraming mga Filipino creators who are here right now and they want to succeed on YouTube. Ano yung maipapayo nyo sa kanila para maging successful sila dito sa platform na to?
Ayun. Hindi kami ganun ka-expert, pero ito yung nag-work for us. Be real, be you, and always remember na you are an empowered woman worthy of a platform. Pangalawa, listen to your community. Kasi sometimes, dun din yung mga magaganda or medyo maraming views namin is yung nagsasuggest sila ng content and then ginagawa namin ng version namin. So, yun, mas okay din yun. Pangatlo, wag kang mag-stop dahil may challenge. Challenges are there to challenge you and not to stop you. And lastly, siguro, I think, yung dapat mindset natin to start our YouTube channel is, if others can do it, I can too. We can. Yun po.
Madidiskarte ako. Yun lang yung masasabi ko. Hashtag madidiskarte ako. Kaya niyo yan.
I love that. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. This is not a moment, it's a movement. I am not throwing away my shot. That's the song that they were referring to. I'm just like my country, I'm young, structured, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Ano ko? Na-excite.
Na-excite ka doon? Yes, favorite ko rin yan, Tanj. Meron tayong something in common. Sobrang passionate about Hamilton. But that was a great chat. Thank you guys so much for the wonderful advice that you've given everyone. And I think sobrang importante, everything that you said. And even that last point of, pag naka-face ka ng challenge, hindi yon sign para mag-stop ka. It's a sign for you to rise above. Maraming salamat, Tanj and Sarah of Team Tara for joining us here today. Thank you guys. Do you guys want to say bye-bye muna to everyone who's been here and waiting for you before you go?
Thank you again sa Team Tara and to all Digiskarteng Pinays out there. Don't stop again
Until you reach the top.
Ayan. And salamat to everyone. Joyce,
And
thank you
we
so
really
much.
hope na talagang hindi lang to nakinig tayo, kundi I hope someday or one day ma-apply natin lahat ng mga narinig natin today.
Thank you so much, Team Tara, for that. O yan, diba? Have a proclivity for action and talagang i-apply natin everything that we've learned here today. YouTube really is an amazing platform for everyone to share their stories and content. And katulad ng sinabi ni Team Tara, you might just be the next one to do so. Thank you again, Tanj and Sarah, for joining us here.
Thank you.
Bye! Thank you! Oh, diba? I love it. I love that conversation. And I think sobrang importante nun. Yung song na yun from Hamilton, I am not throwing away my shot. Ang story nun ay hindi niya papalampasin yung chance na to do something good and to do something amazing. And that's why, nung minention nyo ni Tanch kanina, talagang na-excite din ako kasi if you listen to the song, it's all about really figuring out how you can be present and how you can do things, even not just thinking about it, just keep doing it. And so we hope that you got inspired by that conversation that we just had. And tell us what your YouTube channel content would be like if you did or have started making vlogs as well. Guys, nagko-comment na kayo kanina pa, kaya i-comment nyo na rin kung meron na kayong content or meron kayong content ideas, meron kayong YouTube channel, i-share nyo na yan sa ating comment section. And you can also use the hashtag #madigiskarte ako on all your social media posts to be a part of today's conversation. Thank you guys so much! O, diba? Yan yung hashtag natin, nakikita nyo na sa baba ng aking screen. Pero ngayon naman, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, feedback is so important to us and we love to hear from you guys. So please answer the feedback form by scanning this QR code that's being flashed on your screen right now. Your voice matters and we love to take it into consideration in the next event or training that we may have. All right. Okay. So kung kanina napag-usapan na natin with Team Tara kung paano nila stinart yung channel nila, how they, converse with their community, how they deal with challenges and negativity minsan online, and of course, how they rise above and have a proclivity for action. Ngayon naman, as we're nearing the end of this year's Digiskarteng Pinay event, don't worry because I'm sure this question has been brewing in your minds for the past few hours that we've been streaming. Paano nga ba natin mamomonetize ang YouTube content natin? So many content creators have really been thinking about this. And nakikita ko nga kanina na ang dami ng mga nagtatanong ng question na to. Ang dami mga content creators din na naging successful na din with their vlogging endeavors, and we can definitely see that they've been able to reap the fruits of their labor. So our last but definitely not the least guests for today are two of the most well-respected content creators today. From blogging to now vlogging, this duo has made a name for themselves with their sisterly bond strengthening in the process. They've also made quite a business from it, from being Madigiskarte with their brand deals and YouTube career to put up their very own perfume line. Today, they're sitting down with us to discuss with you how to build your YouTube business as well. If you're curious and you want to eagerly learn about how to monetize your YouTube, they are the perfect people to have this conversation with. Allow me to introduce to you Vern and Vernice and Cecil. Hey, ladies!
Hi, Joyce. Hi, everyone. Hello. Oh
my
super
goodness.
Pressure. Ang gagaling ng past like ng mga panelists before us, pressure tuloy ako.
Grabe ka naman, Vern. Alam mo, actually, ang ganda nga nung perspective nyo kasi you guys transitioned and did different kinds of platform and now you're being successful on YouTube. And I think that's so remarkable, diba, na naging successful kayo in one platform, tapos you go into another platform and then successful pa rin kayo. So that's really content creativeness, creative creation talaga at its finest. Diba? So something to be excited about. Sorry, Bernie.
Super kilig naman kami coming from you, Joyce.
Wow, thank you, Bernice. And I get to say this, guys, kasi I've known these sisters. I've followed them for the longest time already. Nakikita ko na yung mga endeavors nila online and I've seen their work talaga. And you guys are so good at that. You're so good at taking your creativity and putting it into different platforms and translating it into a way that people will really get excited about and understand. So, umpisahan na natin with my first question. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers here are asking the same thing. Some of them have been your fans since your blogging era, but now you are into vlogging naman and still creating a lot of content. Paano niyo ginawa yung transition na yon?
You know, it's funny, Joyce. Just a little background. Vern was actually the one who started everything. Kasi, di ba, Vern, 12 years or 11 years ago, you started blogging. It was
Oh my God, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur in this industry.
TikTok ba yun? Where you started, right? And then transitioned to blogspot.com.
Nadaanan ko sila lahat.
Yeah, so that's how it really started. So Vern really loved writing. Ganun talaga siya nag-start. Vern loved writing. She wanted to be an editor back then. So there, started writing and started a blog. Then 2 years after, that's when I joined her in. And then there, that's where we started the sister blog and transitioned after 3 years to vlogging naman. But just a brief background, di ba syempre, since we were so used to pictures and writing lang, videos for us were very,
Oh
it
my
was a bit,
gosh.
yeah, it was
Very unnatural.
yeah, kasi nga we were so used to pictures and writing lang. But Joyce, I'm really passionate about making film. I even took up multimedia arts during my college days. So yeah, I was really passionate about film, and when I saw it, na it was film or vlogging was the future. I was really telling Vern, Vern, let's do it. Let's take that leap and start our own vlog. So at first, to be honest, Vern was a bit hesitant pa, di ba? Medyo nahirapan pa ako i-convince si Vern to start vlogging. So I would just, wala siyang choice. I was just vlogging and she was just there para lang she'll get used to it. Di ba? Ganun naman, just take the leap, and honestly, yun talaga ginawa namin. We just took the leap and like be confident about it, and yeah, that's how it that's how it started, and then we're here with you now.
Yes, galing. Vern, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that was her whole story. And I think it even took me, Bernice has been convincing me to do YouTube for so long that I only really got comfy with it in the last year lang. So it's just been a few months of me being comfy with YouTube. But I understand all the content creators who are watching right now, or even the ones who want to start, that vlogging can be a little bit hard, especially for those who feel like parang pang-artista lang yun, or like kailangan you have to be like, alam mo, you have to always really project or something, especially coming from blogging, na you can curate every single part and content that you put out. But with blogging, you have to be yourself, and sometimes it's even the hardest thing at the end of the day. I'm sure, Joyce, you can agree with that. Like being yourself can, and showing it to other people can sometimes be hard. So there, that's our little story.
I super agree with you guys because it takes a level of vulnerability, right? It takes a level of honesty na parang, this is who I am without all the post-production and the filter and the curation that I used to have in my blogs or in my social media accounts. Ngayon, ipapakita mo na who you actually are. And I remember before when I would see your blogs and even your social media accounts, sobrang ganda ng photos nyo kasi. And like when you travel, when you have yung mga fashion moments nyo and you share that, and then to see kind of the personalities behind that now on YouTube is so different and so refreshing, if I may even add. But as Vernice mentioned, you guys have been doing this. You guys have been content creating for more than 10 years now. You're doing the blog for a lot of years. But now you've really focused on vlogging, diba, on your YouTube. What made you guys decide to focus more on becoming successful vloggers and really learn and embrace that transition?
Vern?
I think for me, like honestly, because when I moved to Cebu, when I got married, I really needed an outlet because, of course, like moving to a city and getting married and adjusting to all of these new things can be sometimes hard. And because I told, like, as Bernie said, I'm really a writer. I really love expressing myself and finding my niche on YouTube, which I treat as now my little diary, and sharing it to people who are going through the same things as I am now that I'm a new wife, now that I'm going through all of these other problems that comes with being married. I feel like that's why I think I stuck more, or Bernice and I stuck more with YouTube, because it's so weird. Like earlier, what I said, na being yourself is so hard, but it was also when I started YouTube that I found who I really am. And I think, like, of course, getting love from people who would watch our videos was also helpful, because going through a stage where, of course, kinakapa mo pa, like, who am I as a wife? Who am I as this new person in this new stage of my life? And feeling better about going through the same things and knowing that other people are going through the same things as I am really made me happier as well. And that's why I think I'm sticking to vlogging. So there are a lot of ways like why YouTube can be helpful to a lot of people, not only when it comes to monetary. I mean, of course, people's lives change because of YouTube and content creation, but beyond that, it's really the mental thing that you get from it as well. It's so ironic because sometimes you get lost because of YouTube. You going through a stump and you feel like you're going through a middle like a quarter life crisis because of content creation, but it can also be helpful mentally. So yeah.
Mm. I love that you share different aspects. For Vernice, it's because, she's always had a love for film and creating that kind of, video format. And then for you, it's different because it's also another aspect of why content creation is so beautiful, because you get to see yourself in a new light. You kind of rediscover who you are, di ba, by creating content. And you're like, ito pala yung gusto ko talaga gawin. Ito pala yung mga na-enjoy ko. I enjoy
Yeah.
pala these kinds of content. And I can be honest pala about who I am and not feel scared about it. And I can actually be vulnerable and not be afraid of how that will turn out. I love that. Two different aspects to why you started your vlogging. But as I mentioned earlier, ladies, we did ask, and we did see a lot of our viewers ask na paano nga ba mag-monetize ng YouTube, because as you mentioned, Verb, it has changed a lot of people's lives. It is the main bread and butter of a lot of content creators. And now, madaming mga madidigiskarteng Pinays na gustong mapag-balance lahat ng bagay, being with their families or, pursuing something else, but at the same time, having that side hustle or having that even main thing of a YouTube channel. So, paano nyo ba na-realize that you could monetize your YouTube content, and how have you used the YouTube tools to help you in doing so? Can you share it with us, please?
I think with monetizing YouTube, it also was by accident. It was just like how it was with blogging na, oh, pwede pala, I can earn from this. So, actually with AdSense, it's really not that's not the source of revenue for a lot of YouTubers, especially for smaller YouTubers like my sister and I. Because of course, yung mga people who have like millions of subscribers, of course, their AdSense alone can change their lives already. But for YouTubers like my sister and and I'm sure Joyce, you can relate, it's really more of the other ways on how you can earn on YouTube, which is like brand placements. You will talk about, let's say, a certain product on YouTube and talk about its benefits and all of that. So that's one way you can do it. Another one is when you have a business that's outside of YouTube. Let's say you have merchandise, like a YouTube merch, or if you have a beauty business, cafe business, a little home business that you have at home that you've been doing at home. You can promote it on your YouTube channel and then just put links on the description box down below and there. And then speaking of description box down below, I'm sure guys you will always hear link in the description box. Ayan, because like also YouTubers or content creators actually get a certain percentage from you guys buying those items. So there's really a lot of ways on how you can monetize it. There's also the ads that you would see in between our videos. So there's really a lot of ways on how you can do it, not just with AdSense. So
Vernice?
Yeah, just additional to that, I guess maybe the viewers here are really, there was sometimes they're really curious. Sometimes I always get this question like, how do they earn? Parang they're always so curious about that. So I think I just wanted to add to what Vern said. It's really the brand deals that we get. That's really the big chunk where we get our earnings. And of course, when you don't skip the ads on our YouTube. Alam mo, it took us a few months para we'll find out how do we get monetized on YouTube. But apparently it's, just a few steps, and yeah, it's as easy as that. Don't skip the ads. Do
yeah.
all your
Oh my God, Vern, we have to
YouTube.
share to Joyce and to them na oh my God, for like the first 2 years of our YouTube channel, we didn't know how to like turn on our AdSense. Kasi di ba parang sinesend nila sa address mo yung letter or
To
something like
confirm
that
or to, yeah.
Yes.
to confirm. And like for 2 years, Bernice and I didn't earn anything from AdSense just because of the letters that we didn't get. So guys, you have to make sure that the address you put on your AdSense is the right one and you have access to it where you can get the letter physically so you can input the code.
Yeah, I have a similar story, kind of like that also. So that's a really good point. Kasi it's actually a good security way, diba, that YouTube is doing. I love that kasi it makes sure na it's safe. Like they're really giving it to the right content creator and it's not just anybody. So I think that's a really good way to secure your channel. But Vern and Bernice are right. Kailangan tama yung address nyo doon, guys, para kung gusto nyo ma-monetize. And if you want to learn how to monetize your channel, there are so many YouTube videos about that. Ako din, guys, nag-struggle ako when I was starting out my YouTube. I had no idea how to set it up. But there are a lot of obviously videos on YouTube that you can watch for that, or you can Google it and find out how to do it and how to go about it. But I loved what you highlighted, which is brand partnerships are really important. And I think going back to what sila Drea, sila Laika, all of our content creators who spoke here today, kind of echoing what they said, it's so important to know who you are as a brand, diba? Yung treating your channel as a brand. Kasi it's hard for brands to come in, sponsored brands to come in, if it's not clear what you're focused on in your channel. So that's a really good advice that you gave them. I'm just curious then, that how did the opportunity come about of your first brand for a vlog? Like, how did you handle it? Ano yung mga steps that you took before the first brand came in? Because as you mentioned, your monetization, kumbaga, comes more from brand partnerships. How did you prepare your channel so that it would be conducive to getting brand partnerships?
To be honest with you, Joyce, Vern and I had a bit of like we went through a lot. We first nagkakapak talaga kami, like should we do a curated vlog or a more raw vlog? Kasi nga we were so used to content, like curated content. So maraming kaming na-hide na vlogs, to be honest with you, kasi nga very cringe siya. So yeah, just for the out there, it's okay. It's really okay na sige, take a lot of videos, just put it out there kasi but at the end of the day, you're gonna find the niche, yung audience nyo talaga who would really like the content that you put out. So with Vern and I, there was a lot of videos na napapa-cringe kami ngayon. But yeah, we really found the content that we actually want to put out there. And speaking of the brands that you mentioned, the first is it okay to mention the brand, right? So we had our very first brand deal with Cream Silk. We've been working with them for almost 8 years, and yeah, it's our very first
Sponsored vlog.
sponsored vlog. So yeah,
Yeah.
yun
I
nga,
think, like,
medyo-
yeah.
yeah, go Vern.
Yeah, I think like with the sponsored vlog, the reason why I think we transitioned from getting sponsored vlogs to sponsored vlogs is that that brand, which is Cream Silk, asked us that if they could put it in our contract that they would add a sponsored vlog as well. So I think that was our first like aha moment na, oh, you can offer it pala. Like when a brand goes to you and says, can you be our brand ambassador or can you promote our brand? It could be a way for them to for you to actually promote their products as well. So that was our first aha moment. And I guess what Vernie said, na we prepared by it by actually just really putting out videos. Like you don't have to curate your vlog so much just to attract brands, because once you're being yourself and you find your little family on YouTube, the brands will just come. You don't have to pressure yourself. No, oh no, 10 vlogs na ako, wala pa akong sponsored video. You just have to really be yourself. It's harder to, I mean, it's easier to say it than do it, but then like when you're just really being yourself and you're listening to your audience, listening to your community, the brands will just come naturally.
I love that. Listening to yourself and your community, the brands will just come naturally. You know what I also noticed is when it's so important what you guys mentioned, which is pwede mo palang i-add yon, pwede mo palang i-offer na if you have a specific brand deal for a different social media platform, for example, pwede mong i-add na, halimbawa, bago lang yung YouTube mo, di ba, na, oh guys, pwede bang i-freebie ko na, i-add ko na, meron akong YouTube video, i-mention ko kayo doon, because it's actually a good point to make that when other brands see that you're already doing doing branded content with other brands, mas na-encourage sila na, this is a good platform pala, or this is a good content creator pala to also tap into because X brand has already collaborated with them, you know. So the more brands actually trust your brand or your channel, the more other brands will be interested to work with you. So that's a really good point. I love that. Okay, so one of the things that I've really noticed with your vlog also is the way that you try to still be authentic with your personal content and kind of mesh that in with the branded content and the endorsement deals that you have. So, how do you balance that? As a content creator, what are the best practices that you can share with us to make sure that once you start getting those branded contents and those endorsement deals, that you get to still do that with a sense of authenticity for your personal content?
You know, Joyce, Vern and
Okay.
I actually talked about this. When we get the brand deal or maybe like close it with them, we make sure to ask the brand that before we post it, can we please try it first for probably 2 weeks or so, especially with skincare? Because we don't want, with me, I had a bad experience with that. I learned it the hard way. Um, I didn't try it out agad. I broke out and yeah, it didn't work out that well. But buti na lang, I got to talk to the brand about it that it didn't, um, it I was so sensitive that my skin was so sensitive. So at least we were honest about it and we just didn't work anymore. But then yeah, so at least I worked. At least I learned from it, and then after that, I always ask brands that I should try it out first so I could really share my own experience about it. And then yeah, I also noticed that viewers nowadays are very smart, so they know if alam nila pag sponsored yan. So Vern and I always make sure that we really try the product first, then we share our own experience about it. Then we also tell the brand na we're also honest with the brands that is it okay if we don't mention this because we weren't happy, but we like the brand because of this. So can we focus on that instead?
On
So those are some of the things that Vern and I do whenever we close a brand endorsement or a brand partnership. Diba, Vern?
Yeah. And I think what Vernice and I really keep in mind is that we really make sure that we keep the trust that we have between us,
Yeah.
between our audience or between our family, YouTube family. Because like I feel like it took us a long time. I mean, it took us 12 years to get to where we are now. And we really treasure the relationship that we have with the family who's watching us. So we're really very like we make sure that we filter so much of the products that we actually feature on the vlog. And because nga Vernie said and you said that like viewers now are so smart, they can really say it and they know if you haven't tried the product or not. So I think you really just have to be honest with yourself na in the long run, will this be good for me? Because it could earn you this much money now, but then like if you will lose followers along the way just because you weren't authentic, and you would get all the brands just because you need all that money and you're so greedy because of that, then it's not worth it. So yeah, that's what I think the advice I can give content creators who are just starting out is you really just have to make sure that you have the purpose in mind, that is this going to be worth it in the long run?
I love that. There's so much wisdom in that, ladies, and I think Vernice, from your point, having that pre-plan or pre-prod of actually trying it out and doing your research first and seeing, okay, does this brand actually represent also what I believe in? Is it actually good, and is it something that will benefit my audience before endorsing it? That's really good advice because that means that you stay authentic in who you are while at the same time being able to earn money from your YouTube. And from what you said, Vern, diba, you shouldn't sacrifice the integrity of your work, the integrity of your brand, the integrity of your audience for the sake of money. Kasi you cannot put a price on integrity. You cannot put a price on people knowing that you're honest with them and these are actually things na you believe in. Kasi at the end of the day, madami ka pang mga brands that you'll work with. And if they'll see or if they know na, oh, she worked with a brand that she didn't actually believe in, how can they then believe na you believe in the next few brands that you work with? And so those are two really good wisdom-filled advice that a lot of our Digiskarteng Pinayas could really gain from. Okay, I want to ask you, I have a last question for you ladies, but before I go into that, we have so many interesting questions from our chat box. So let's go on and start it with, oh, Tinmay is here. So ladies, Tinmay Arsenas is one of our Digiskarteng Pinays from last year, and she commented, sabi niya, we appreciate you, Google Philippines, for giving opportunities to your creators for doing this workshop to inspire and empower fellow Pinays. Grabe yung pag-give back ng YouTube sa creators nila. Hi, Tinmay! Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Si Tinmay before, ang vlog niya ay really about, I think, fashion. Pero she transitioned into like giving business advice dahil nung pandemic, yun yung naisip niyang magandang pivot for her vlog. Ayan. Okay, another question here that's brand related is from Alfred Patropes. Sabi niya, what do you consider in accepting brand deals? Aside from the things that we've already discussed, meron pa ba kayong further advice for them with regards to accepting brand deals?
I think like one is it's an advantage if you already use the brand or if it's something that you've used in the past. That's one. If it is a yes, then of course like it's a go, definitely. But number two is like what Bernie said. If it's something that's I could use in the future, like let's say I'll go to a store, I'll go to a mall na if it's something I'll be leaning towards to, even if I don't know about it yet, then it's a yes. So those are the two things. But if I don't know about it completely, it's something that's out of my reach, I would probably never think of buying it, then well, that's personally, I don't accept the brand that I'm gonna work with.
You know, addition to what Vern just said, sometimes, diba, when we share our life, it's not always sponsored. Sometimes we just say, "Oh, we love this chips. Oh, we love this moisturizer. Oh, we love this lipstick." Sometimes, the more exposure you get, sometimes may kita yan ng brands, and then they sometimes just email you, right, Vern? Like when they know that you
Yeah.
love the product without them um,
Paying you first.
paying you or making a brand deal with you. Sometimes they get you or make you an endorsement because they know that you love their product personally. So yeah, that's one tip
Yeah.
I could share, that just be really authentic and then share what you love. And sometimes the brands will really just email you. Di ba alam mo yung
Yeah.
saying na, baka naman. Yan, that's the favorite man. Like sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I love this lipstick. Baka naman." And then you share the
Yeah.
brand. So, sometimes manifestation land.
It works. Yeah, and then it's so cute. And it's so cute because like your followers, diba, Vern, would even be proud. Like, oh my God, dati ginagamit mo lang yan. Now, like, they actually got you as an
Yes.
endorser. So, yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. Gusto ko yun. Actually, I just want to share that my latest that's upcoming a brand endorsement is because they kept seeing me use that product and they emailed me like, do you want a partnership? And I was like, yes, I want a
It's the
partnership. I
best.
never thought you'd ask. So that is so true. Like, just be honest about what you actually use, the brands that you love, show it to your audience. Not even thinking na baka naman, di ba? Minsan pwede tayo mag-ganon or send the check, sinasabi namin sa podcast. But even just, I think it's also putting together the trust for your audience, na they know that you share with them, as Vernice mentioned, you share with them personal parts of your life that you actually believe in, things that you actually use, di ba? Products that you're really proud of, even before you get sponsorships from them. So that's a good advice that I've also experienced in my life as a content creator. Okay, another question here from Violetta Marie Corres. Sabi niya, being one of the most authentic and genuine vloggers on YouTube, what are your plans to keep on being one? Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, hi Violetta. Thank you so much for that. Oh my God, it's so hard. Honestly, like being a content creator for so long, sometimes you really run out of stuff to talk about. Like sometimes I would ask myself, I'm not that exciting. My life is not that exciting. I don't know. Sometimes like that's really how I create my YouTube. Like, what do I do today? Like my life is not exciting, but I think that's the beauty of it. The more you share stuff that you don't think people will enjoy, that's actually what works on YouTube. It's amazing. That's what I'm really amazed with when it comes to YouTube. And I guess like if you're really being true to yourself and just asking yourself constantly, am I being myself? If I'm being authentic, if it's something that even my viewers would love, then I guess like you're on the right track.
Bernice?
Adding to that, I guess being in the industry for almost a decade, I guess it's like really growing with the audience and the community or the family that Vernon and I have now on YouTube. So yeah, we make sure to really show even the parts that we really share everything online mostly. So even the days that aren't so happy at all, we really share it because sometimes, like, to be honest with you, Joyce, we shared like we have problems with when we had like a sickness or like when we had COVID, we really shared it. And I really like how the family just makes it like they even give us, they share us their what worked for them, like how we recovered, especially from our post COVID, like those little things. So yeah, like for Vern and I guess we just really share even the downs and ups with
Yeah.
audience.
And I think like last thing that I really want to add, you don't have to be pressured to be like everyone else. Before I thought on YouTube we needed to have this big ass personality. And you have to be like, hey guys, like but then like, there's really like a platform for everyone. The internet world is so big. There's really a space for every single one of us. So you don't have to pretend to be anyone else. Just be yourself and then it will come. Like I mean, it took us 12 years really and for us to still be here, and because we've just been trying to really find ourselves along the way and just sticking to the principles that we had growing up and even the ones we learned along the way. And I guess you really just stay, it will just really come, guys. Don't pressure yourself.
I love that. I think I agree with you guys so much because that's the beauty of content creation in YouTube, right? There's no actual mold that you have to follow. You can create your own path, you can forge your own journey, and it just will be beautiful if you're honest about who you are, if you involve your community talaga. As Bernice mentioned, you make it into your family, and as Vern mentioned, just knowing that you don't have to be a certain type of personality or you don't have to be a certain type of content creator to be successful in this field. You can just be yourself. So as my final question for you, Vern and Bernice, what would be your word of advice for all the Digiskarteng Pinays watching right now who want to be successful in their YouTube journey?
Just do it. It's so cliche, but really just start your YouTube channel. And then if you guys fail along the way, then there's always a delete button and just cancel your channel. But I mean, there's no harm in trying. And guys, second one is like, you know what? I learned this 12 years ago and it worked when we moved to YouTube. Ask your family and friends, force them to watch your YouTube videos, force them to share your YouTube videos, because when your family starts sharing it to other people, and then they keep sharing it to like their group of friends, oh my god, that's when you're gonna find your community.
So yeah, adding to what Vern said, I guess always just be yourself. It's also so cliche, but that really works. We mentioned it earlier that don't be pressured that you might have low engagement, low views. Don't be pressured because that's how we started also, right, Vern? Like from what? How many views lang on Blogspot? It was so, yeah, but we
Yeah.
never gave up. I guess at the end of the day, what I'm just saying is don't give up. Don't listen to the background noise. Back then, people were saying, "What is that even a job?" Diba? That's how people were before. But yeah. So for me, at the end of the day, just don't give up. Don't listen to the background noise. Just be yourself, and yeah, just keep just keep pushing yourself.
Practical and wisdom-filled advice from Vern and Vernice and Sisa. Thank you so much, ladies, for being with us here today.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Joe.
so much,
Thank you so
Joyce. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your YouTube business experience and lessons. I'm sure our viewers at home are itching to apply these learnings with their own YouTube channels as well. I am. And I think it's so interesting because what the story of Vernon Vernice is really the transition that they were able to make. So kahit saan ka pa nag-uumpisa, whether you're working in your office, you're a teacher, or even you're a blogger before and you want to become a YouTube creator, you can do it. Here's a comment from Sharina Marie tumbokon. Sabi niya, thank you, Google Philippines. Thank you, Miss Joyce, so much for the learnings this afternoon. Thank you also for joining us, Sharina. Now, as I mentioned earlier, guys, we love your feedback, and feedback is so important to us. We love to hear from you, so please answer the feedback form by scanning the QR code being flashed on your screen right now. Okay, scan nyo na. Your voice matters to us so much, so please fill up that form so we know how we can improve this online training that we have. All right. Now, before we end this year's Digiskarteng Pinay webinar, allow me to call on once again our YouTube Strategic Partner Manager, Andrea Romualdez, for a special message to our aspiring Digiskarteng Pinay content creators. Hi, Drea.
Hi, Joyce. Thank you again. It was such a great session. Usually, towards the end, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But I think like this session, like the way it was also spaced out, it was so engaging throughout. It was really nice to hear really different experiences from each of the creators that came on. And thank you as well to yourself. As a creator, you were able to also share a lot of your own experiences and best practices. So I really learned a lot also, even as a partner manager.
Thank you, Drea. I think I echo with you on that. I learned so much from today. As a content creator, sometimes you feel like, hindi, alam ko na to because I am in the muck and mire. I'm creating content. I am looking at my community. I am here every week churning out new ideas. But from today, I realized that there's so much learning and there's so much growth that's still to be happening. So I'm excited what you have in store for us for this final message before we close out our program for today. Go ahead, Andrea.
Thanks so much. Okay. So thank you again, everyone. I still see that there's still so many of you on the stream with us. And I just wanted to really, firstly, thank everyone who signed up and watched this online training workshop that we really designed for women creators and allies alike. So we hope that you learned a lot from this session and enjoyed it just as much as we all did. On behalf of Google and YouTube, we'd like to express our sincerest thanks to our friends from the media also who have joined us today and to support this campaign. And I hope this event was inspiring for you as well. Part of our goal as YouTube and Google is to really help creators on our platform succeed. So that's why we're really pouring efforts into initiatives like this, to empower you with the knowledge and skills to thrive on YouTube. Your voice is so important to us, and we hope that you can really paulit-ulit na lang, but take time in answering the feedback form that we will flash again on the screen so that you can all really tell us how else we can support you and what other events you'd actually be looking forward to. Again, Digiskarteng Pinay believes that when we uplift women, we also uplift households and communities. So to provide the women with online resources they need to really upskill themselves, both on and off the platform, we also need the help of YouTube creators and allies in this journey. So after the event, we will be reaching out to some of you to ask for your support to contribute to the learning content on Digiskarteng Pinay playlist. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe and well, and see you on YouTube.
Thank you so much, Drea, for that wonderful message. It really was an incredible afternoon of learning and getting inspired. And I think a lot of our Digiskarteng Pinays here just cannot wait to start or continue their own YouTube channels. Maraming salamat, Andrea.
Thank you.
And that officially concludes our event. I hope everyone, especially our Digiskarteng Pinays in the making, picked up a lesson or two, or that your content creating juices were replenished with our insightful workshops and chats from this afternoon. Katulad ng kanina pa namin sinasabi, sa tamang Digiskarte, may mahahanap talaga tayong bagong opportunities to generate income from and make a living out of, and even aid towards uplifting the economy with our creativity and of course, with YouTube. It can be even in something we find joy and our own voices in, or as many of our content creators mentioned this afternoon, where our passions lie. As a special thank you to our event attendees, we will be giving swag bags to the first 100 women content creators who registered for today's webinar to help you in your creative journey with YouTube. Nakita nyo naman guys na ang dami nating mga nag-view for today at ang dami mga nag-register. So we will be messaging our lucky 100 attendees after our event. But thank you to each and every one of you really for being here, for joining the conversation, for sharing your experiences and your insights with us, because it really means a lot to us. Once again, my name is Joyce Trevino, and it has been a pleasure to be your host for Digiskarteng Pinay. I hope to see more women content creators in the future harnessing your Digiskarte in ways and lessons learned from today. I also hope that our allies in the audience also use this time to explore ways on how they can empower the women in their lives towards content creation. And who knows, you might just be the next Vernon Vernice or Team Tara. But in the meantime, you can continue sharing your own insights and your stories from our event by using our hashtag #MaDigiskarteAko in all your social media posts. Thank you once again for joining us here this afternoon, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye!